Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Astrodome. Today, the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Oilers, the clash in the AFC Central. And let's take a look at the standings in the Central. Houston atop. Their record is 8-4 with Pittsburgh and Cleveland both chasing them. Hello, everybody. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. The Houston Oilers, they are the hottest team in the National Football League. They have won 7 in a row. They have completely turned this season around.
Yeah, one of the major reasons for that has been defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan. Early on in the season, he talked with us and he said that it's going to take a while to get used to this particular defense. And they were 1-4, and everybody was talking about maybe Buddy Ryan wasn't the answer. Now, 7 games later, he's a genius.
He is the answer, right? Now, the Cleveland Browns, their record is 6-6. They need an answer. They must win today if they're going to stay in the race.
Well, so many times when we get in these situations, Charlie, we talk about this is a big game. It's a must game. This time we're telling the truth. Cleveland absolutely has to have this game, and it's a lot to ask of Bill Belichick and his group to come into the house in pain and win, but that's exactly what they're going to have to do.
And we talked with Bill Belichick yesterday, and he is rather confident.
Well, you know, it's a situation where, quite frankly, he has nothing to lose, especially after this year. I mean, the word beleaguered applies to Bill Belichick with regards to all of the controversy regarding the release of Bernie Kosar and the insertion of Phil Cox and the injury to Testaverde, and all those things have played out to make Bill Belichick somewhat cynical. But he really believes in his team today and thinks that they can pull it off.
When we were on the elevator with him yesterday, he said, "Don't stand too close. You're liable to get hit by flying debris."
He's taken his share this year.
The Houston Oilers have won the toss. They will be receiving, and the ball game is underway as Matt Stover sails it into the end zone, where it will be down, and will bring it out to the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at the offense of the Houston Oilers, and there are some question marks in that offensive line. Mike Munchak, he is bothered by bad knees and a bad back. And David Williams has an ankle injury. We will keep an eye on them. Warren Moon, Gary Brown, the 4 wide receivers. Webster Slaughter is going to start. And he, of course, has an injury problem with that torn cartilage in his chest. And the word is that he ran before the game and will stay in as long as he can.
That and the fact that he's 26 catches from the century mark, and that has certainly a motivation, a chance to be the 7th guy in history with 100 catches.
That gets the adrenaline going. Warren Moon deep over the middle, incomplete. Randy Hilliard took the carom off of his shoulder. Webster Slaughter was the intended receiver. We'll take another look.
I have to wonder if here's a situation where Warren Moon decided, yes, I want to go right to him right away to get him involved in the game. Clearly, if Hilliard would have turned around, he'd have had the easy pick.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10, and Warren was throwing into double coverage.
Yeah, not a good decision, but as I say, I think a psychological ploy to get Slaughter involved early, to not give him a chance to think about that rib cartilage injury.
2nd down and 10. And here is the running attack of Gary Brown. This has been a major difference in the offense of the Houston Oilers. Stevan Moore making the tackle. Here's a look at the front line of the Browns. Burnett, Ball, Michael Dean Perry, Pleasant, and Mike Johnson. And then we'll take a look at the secondary. And as you can see, like everybody else, they'll have a couple of extra defensive backs in most of the time.
Interesting, though, Charlie, that Jerry Ball told us that unlike in the past when you play the Houston Oilers, now because of what Gary Brown has done, they have to think, stop the run first.
3rd down and short. Flag is down. If the play stands up, it will be a 1st down. Gary Brown, again, the ball carrier, and Rob Burnett makes the tackle. It will go against the Oilers, so negate the first down for Houston. Jack Pardee, the head coach of the Oilers. And we didn't pick it up. I believe it was Bruce Matthews, the offensive center, number 74. And he is the player that the Browns defense have the most respect for.
Well, they certainly do, but that man right there is somebody they have some respect for, too. A couple of weeks ago against the Cleveland Browns, Gary Brown burst on the scene. Look at the numbers that he had. 34 carries, 194 yards, nearly 6 yards a carry. He has been a real godsend for the Oilers because of the hamstring injuries to Lorenzo White.
With the penalty, the ball goes back to the 19-yard line. So it is 3rd down and 11 to Warren Moon from the shotgun. And the pass is incomplete at the 30-yard line. Haywood Jeffries, the intended receiver, so a very costly penalty in the first offensive surge of the Oilers. And that means that Greg Montgomery will be kicking. And number 21, Eric Metcalf, is the return man. The Oilers feel he is the most dangerous offensive weapon of the Cleveland Browns. And Buddy Ryan says the first thing that we have to do, Buddy never calls players by their name. He said the first thing we have to do is stop number 21. And here is the kick. And Metcalf takes it at the 36-yard line. Steps back, he's the 40, 45, a couple of little head moves, a shoulder move. And he is down at the 49-yard line. The ball may have come out, but the officials say that, of course, the artificial surface cannot cause a fumble. 45 yards on the kick and a 13-yard return for Eric Metcalf. Let's take a look at the offense of the Cleveland Browns. Vinny Testaverde coming off of that shoulder separation. This is the offensive line in front of him. Tony Jones, Houston Hoover, Everett, Dahl, and Gene Williams. And they will stay basically with that 5. Testaverde still bothered a bit by the shoulder. He told us yesterday that he was 90%. 3rd down package.
Look for Leroy Hoard, the 3rd down package, as he's the one that's been catching the ball out of the backfield.
So Cleveland starts in Houston territory at the Oilers 49. Testaverde, a nice touch pass Metcalf. There's the move that they worry about. He's the 20. He's going to score. Whoa! Now you know why Buddy Ryan said we have to stop number 21. They did not, and the Browns have the early lead, 49 yards.
One of the things that is required of the 46 defense is coverage on the part. Take a look to the outside. Wilber Marshall is going to have Metcalf in coverage, and that's just a total mismatch. Little out move. You can see Marshall, look at that, dragging by 5 yards, cuts to the outside, and he is gone. Part of the problem with that 46 defense is it requires great athletic ability on the part of the linebackers, and in this case, Marshall. No match for the quickness and speed of Metcalf.
One of the Houston Oilers was injured on the play, and he is down at around the 12-yard line. We think that is Chris Dishman. We're not positive, but we believe that is the Oiler who is down. So we're going to step aside for a moment. We'll come back with the extra point attempt, as we do have a timeout, and the Browns have a 6-0 lead. The injured Oiler was Chris Dishman. He is up and moving around on the sideline. And now the extra point attempt by Matt Stover. And it is good. And so the Cleveland Browns move out in front of the Houston Oilers by a score of 7-0. And we still have 13-19. That is the time remaining in the first quarter. And we will go back to the touchdown pass of Vinny Testaverde to Eric Metcalf.
Charlie Jones, you turned out to be prophetic. You got to stop Eric Metcalf. A little out move, and look at Marshall in trail coverage. And when you give this man open field, this is when he is arguably one of the 2 or 3 most dangerous backs in the National Football League. Great hands. People forget that Eric Metcalf is the leading receiver for the Cleveland Browns, and now nearly a 50-yard receiver receiving touchdown. Testaverde has to be happy with the start of this game for the Cleveland Browns.
Eric Metcalf is one of the few players in the National Football League who has scored a touchdown rushing, receiving, by kickoff returns and punt returns, and Metcalf also has thrown a touchdown pass.
Well, remember, those who follow football closely remember earlier in the season a Cleveland-Pittsburgh game in which that man ran back 2 punts for a touchdown, one 91 yards, the other 75 yards. Very, very exciting football player, not unlike his father, Terry, who did much the same thing for the St. Louis Cardinals. In fact, Charlie, 3 years ago, I was doing a game here with Don Crickey, and he ran back a kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown, and I can still remember Don going, Terry's at the 50, at the 40, at the 30. He finally goes, oh, that's right, it's Eric.
And here is the kickoff. And again, it will be down in the end zone. This time it is Willie Drury, and so the Oilers will go to work offensively for the second time in the ball game. at their own 20-yard line. A check of the other games, the early games in the NFL today. And you might go back to the first possession of the Houston Oilers and that very costly holding penalty on Bruce Matthews, because they did have the first down. That took them back to 3rd down and 11. They came up short, forced a punt, and then the first play, the return, after the return of Metcalf, was the pass to Metcalf. So now the Oilers have an uphill battle against the Cleveland Browns, as Cleveland is out in front by a score of 7-0. And here is Gary Brown off of the left side.
Another flag is down.
Del Spear, the rookie free agent from Florida, one of the extra men in the secondary for the Browns. The penalty will go against the Cleveland Browns.
5-yard face mask foul. Number 98, defense. Enforced from the end of the run. First down.
And that's on Anthony Pleasant. And the ball will move out to the 32-yard line. It will be a first down.
Seems to be a lot more of those called this year, I noticed. A lot more of the defensive line with the hands to the face and some face masks. They're really cracking down on anything that goes to the head.
Moon goes deep and overthrows everybody. Haywood Jeffries ran into, in reality, a traffic jam about 15 yards downfield. And there was simply nowhere to go, and Warren Moon was going deep.
One of the things that Warren Moon is good at is scanning the field and looking for his second or third receiver. Right there, he just decided right away, I'm going to Haywood Jeffries. And you're right, Charlie, there are 3 white shirts there, and a good thing he overthrew him.
So it is 2nd down and 10. Gary Brown is the remaining back. And Brown on the draw has the opening on the left side. He's going to pick up close to 8 yards on the play. Del Spear and Mike Johnson take him out. What Gary Brown does, he gives such a big second dimension to the Houston Oilers. Already has rushed for 24 yards. And that is the fact, when you set up to stop the run and shoot defensively, you're giving away large running lanes because you figure nobody's going to be running in them. And all of a sudden, here's Gary Brown, and he's running in them.
And especially, Charlie, when they're in man-for-man coverage, which means that when you're in man-for-man coverage, you turn your back on the quarterback because you have to stay with your man. In a lot of cases, that also creates extra running lanes for the runner in the run and shoot.
3rd down and 2. And here is Brown again. He's got the first down. And a little shoulder bump against Eric Turner. Not a bad move. Now, earlier this year, Gary Brown rushed for 194 yards. This was week 12 against the Browns.
And look at that, spinning off of Michael Dean Perry and going in for the touchdown. I think it was a real shock to Cleveland because they didn't think anybody could run against them like that, let alone a run and shoot team. And as you mentioned, Gary Brown, a brand new dimension for this run and shoot.
And a first down at the 50-yard line. And on first down, Warren Moon in the shotgun. And he goes deep, and the pass is a bit overthrown to Jeffries. Haji Mustafa had the coverage on him. The Browns feel that Mustafa may be their best cover man, but that's the kind of situation they do not want him in because he doesn't have that wide open speed down the sideline. Moon, by the way, a very inauspicious start. He is 0 for 4.
What's interesting with regards to Haywood Jeffries is that every week now the best cover man is covering Jeffries. And that's, of course, because of the fact that over the last 3 years he's led the AFC in receiving. But that ideally should open it up for some other people. Witness last week against the Falcons, they had Deion Sanders on him the entire game. Now Mustafa, their best cover guy, is covering Jeffries.
2nd down and 10. Over the middle, knocked away. Jeffries, the intended receiver. Mustafa knocked it down. An excellent defensive play. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Now, of course, here you second-guess Kelvin Gilbride a little bit. We saw earlier Gary Brown's statistics, 4 carries for 34 yards. Now they finally get to midfield and they throw 2 straight incomplete passes. You have to wonder if that's the way to go. You know, I remember when I was playing with Kenny Stabler, he used to wear Mark Van Eegen out. If it goes to the left, it's getting 5-6 yards. There's no way he's coming off until they stop it. And clearly at this point, the Cleveland Browns have not stopped the run.
Warren Moon is 0 for 5. It is 3rd down and 10. And we have whistles, and the flag is down.
Mike Munchak rocked back a little bit. Number 63, Mike Munchak, somebody who really is showing a lot of courage. In fact, that man, Jack Pardee, when he made reference to Munchak, he said, he's one of the key pieces of glue that keeps us together. I admire his effort and courage so much. His knees are so bad now. What was it he told us? 6 operations on the left knee?
6 on the left, 2 on the right. No cartilage, bone against bone. We're sitting there talking to him, and my knee started to hurt.
Yeah.
What he was talking about. Oh, man. 3rd down and 15.
Feel that despite that injury that he's playing well enough to get his 9th Pro Bowl nod, which would be a Houston Oilers record.
And we have flags down. Moon has a free play. And he was not sliding. He's going to come up a yard short of the 1st down. Mustafa finally got him. And that was 3rd and 15, so here's a choice to be made.
Absolutely right. I was just going to say, Charlie, this is a tough decision to make because if why do you want to come back and go 3rd and 10? You've got 4th and 1 now at the 41-yard line with a great runner like Gary Brown and a couple of Pro Bowlers up front. It might be a situation where they refuse the penalty and go for it. The brain trust of the Oilers, tough decision to make right here.
And you could almost hear the mind of Warren Moon when he got in the open field saying, I can't slide here. I can get the 1st down, and he almost did.
Well, clearly, even at the age of 37, he can still move. He can still run.
Offside, defense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
I like that call.
I do, too.
4th down and 1 at the Cleveland 41-yard line.
Well, 3rd and 10 in the National Football League is about a 25% proposition anyway. And so 4th and 1, they're going to give it a shot. They have confidence. This shows not just the confidence in their offense, Charlie, but a lot of confidence in that 46 defense, feeling if they don't get it, that they can stop them coming back.
And on a quick count, Gary Brown goes and is stopped. And so Cleveland holds. They take over on down. And Cleveland has the lead, 7-0. And we'll be back in just a moment. As you can see, that Gary Brown is stuffed short of the 1st down. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen here in the Astrodome, and this was the 4th and 1 play.
Well, the quick count enables Johnson to anticipate Bill Johnson as well as Stevan Moore. They take a chance, just knife across, and they nail Brown in his tracks.
Now for the Cleveland Browns, this is their 2nd offensive play. The first one at 49 yards for a touchdown. Eric Metcalf gets the call again, and he will go to the 45-yard line, where it will be 2nd down and 7 as Bubba McDowell makes the tackle. Let's look at that defense of the Houston Oilers. We didn't have a chance to set it earlier because the Browns scored so quickly with Fuller, Childress, Montgomery, Jones, Robinson, Smith, and Wilbur Marshall. And in the secondary, Dishman, Jackson, McDowell, and Marcus Robertson. When they go to the dime,
Tony Brown, and Blaine Bishop. Interesting point there in that starting defense. 5 Pro Bowlers.
Little swing right side, tight end. Brian Kitchen has the 1st down. Chris Dishman, who was shaken up on the touchdown play, was there along with Al Smith. As you now can check out some of the other early scores in the NFL. No score, Buffalo, Philadelphia. New Orleans with an early lead on the Rams. New Orleans needs a victory if they're going to get back in the race. No score in New England. And here it is Cleveland 7 and Houston 0. 1st down at the Oilers 43. Testaverde goes deep. Kitchen fell down. Brian Kitchen was wide open, and he fell down. And I think what happened is that he just gets caught on the AstroTurf. It grabs you, and he falls down.
Now, I'll tell you what grabbed him is number 58. Take a look at the left of your screen. You're going to see right at the end, Marshall's in trail coverage, and he just tripped up his feet. Marshall a good 4 yards behind, and Kitchen gets up and can't believe that he didn't get the call. Once again, the weakness of the 46 defense is in man-for-man coverage on the tight end and the backs. You have to have the great athletes, a linebacker, to do it. And once again, Marshall almost got burned.
Second down and 10. 9:51. That is the time remaining. First quarter. Browns up 7-0. Testaverde, he goes deep. Has a man. It is almost intercepted. Marcus Robertson almost had the interception. Michael Jackson, the intended receiver, and Testaverde was just a little sore.
Well, Michael Jackson actually makes a good play. Robertson doing an outstanding job of playing center field. Watch the right hand of Michael Jackson come back and strip the ball from Robertson right there at the end. That's a good play. Otherwise, Marcus Robertson would have had his 8th interception, which would have been tops in the National Football League. There's a man, my guess right there, number 31, leading tackler and interceptor for the Houston Oilers. He's headed to Hawaii.
Well, Michael Jackson was behind the secondary. Testaverde has another 3 or 4 yards on the back. Third down and 10. And we've got a timeout by the Cleveland Browns. That stops the clock with 9:45 left to go. We're in the first quarter, and Cleveland is out in front by a score of 7-0. Welcome back to the Astrodome. Cleveland out in front by a score of 7-0. And it is third down and 10. The ball on the 43-yard line of the Oilers.
There are statistics, lies, and damn lies, as they say, but that is one it's a vital statistic for defensive success in the National Football League. During the 7-game winning streak, that 31% was actually closer to 22%. Houston has been outstanding on third down.
Here comes everybody. The screen right side is complete to Leroy Hoard. He will come up short of the first down by about 3 yards.
And that's a big play by Mike. A good job of getting the ball off. But watch in the middle, number 51. He actually comes into the blitz, draws the play. Now he has to come off on number 33. And Hoard can get the first down, except for number 51, Michael Barrow, their second-round pick out of Miami, comes over, makes the tackle before he gets the first. And now Stover will attempt a 53-yard field goal.
His longest success this year has been from 47 yards. This one a 53-yard attempt. Interestingly enough, we've got a timeout taken by Cleveland. He is only 2 of 4 indoors.
And that's because Bob Dahl, the right tackle, wasn't in. They only had 10 people out on the field, and inevitably that's what happens. He will be about $100 or $200 lighter in the paycheck on Tuesday as a result of not getting out there. It happened to me too, I remember.
You were talking about statistics a moment ago. Listen to this one. So far in the ball game, the Houston Oilers have rushed for 47 yards. They have passed for 0 yardage. Now their run is back in the run and shoot. Cleveland has 3 yards rushing. That was courtesy of Eric Metcalf. 68 yards passing.
And 49 of that was also courtesy of Eric Metcalf.
You're right. .9:15 is the time remaining. We're in the first quarter at the Astrodome. 53-yard field goal attempt. Brian Hansen is the holder. Ryan Kitchen is the snapper. Oh, and it is looking good. And he's got it.
Wow.
With room to spare from 53 yards away. And Cleveland moves up by a score of 10-0.
Indoors, obviously, you don't have the elements, and that's why coaches are willing to try some of the longer field goals. But, Charlie, you're right. He got all of that, as they say.
Yeah.
Actually hits the screen behind. Probably would have made it from close to 60. He knew he hit it well, and he goes, yes, indeed. Oh, thank you. Isn't it funny when people score touchdowns and field goals, they all of a sudden get so religious? Yeah. Is that just me noticing that all of a sudden? Kind of an ecclesiastical thing.
Oh, we do it on commercials.
Oh, do we? I noticed that it's funny how when there's a fumble and interception, all of a sudden they become agnostic. I tell you what, the Astronome's been good to Stover. Not only did he hit the 53-yard field goal, but he's had 2 touchbacks thus far, kicking it out of the end zone and not forcing Houston to not run the ball out. So far, so good for number 3.
And remember, coming into the ball game, Cleveland with a record of 6-6. They need a victory here to stay in the chase in the Central Division. Houston, the hottest club in the NFL. They won 7 in a row. Their record is 8-4. Pittsburgh is sandwiched between Houston and Cleveland in the standings. Their record is 7-5. They play tomorrow night at Miami. And this one will be down in the end zone for the 3rd time in the ball game. We'll have the touchback, and the Oilers will go to work at their own 20-yard line. And now let's take a look at the natural gas quarterback efficiency rating.
Interesting how as the season progresses, the numbers start to go down. Remember early in the season, Charlie, we had a couple of quarterbacks over 100. Now slowly but surely they're falling down as the weather gets colder.
And number 1 and number 2 will be meeting in the second half of the doubleheader here on NBC. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium. Warren Moon 0 for 5. The 3rd drive of the Oilers in the ballgame, the 3rd time that they have started from the 20-yard line. And here is Gary Brown off of the right side. He's going to pick up 3, maybe 4 yards where Michael Dean Perry and Bill Johnson make the tackle. When we talked with Jerry Ball, number 93, defensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns, all that he wanted to talk about was stopping the run. And I was asking him, if you stop the run of the Houston Oilers, aren't you really playing into their hands because they are the run and shoot? Don't you open up the pass?
Well, actually, you don't, and the reason is because they want to force the Houston Oilers to have to throw on every down. Jerry Ball, former Pro Bowler for the Detroit Lions, coming over to the Cleveland Browns. He and Michael Dean Perry, the Crush Rush, are determined today to make sure that Brown does not repeat his 194-yard performance.
Warren Moon to throw, drops this one off the left side. It is incomplete. Warren Moon is now 0 for 6.
Well, drop, you said drop this one off. Drop is the operative word. That's the 2nd time now that Haywood Jeffries has gone for somewhat of a sliding catch and not come up with it. Mustafa really isn't on him as hard as he was before. Very catchable ball. He just doesn't come up with it.
So it is 3rd down and 7. Still no score in that Cincinnati-New England game. The battle
for the number 1 pick. Yeah.
Who could be Marshall Faulk?
That's right. Keith Schuler, possibly. Tennessee.
3rd down and 7. Moon comes back, throws to this side, and wide open is Ernest Givens. There's the first reception for the Oilers wide receiver. And their 1st down as they pick up 14 on the play. And here is Eric Turner making the stop for Cleveland.
Well, clearly they needed a wake-up call. Ernest Givens looks like he's running the out and up, and Terry Taylor turns like he's going to go deep. Instead, he settles down, catches the ball at the 29, and this is something Ernest Givens has always been great at, running with the ball after the catch. 5'9", 172 pounds. I dare say this, pound for pound, maybe the toughest guy in the National Football League.
I would agree.
One of the few guys at that size you'll see go over the middle.
Moon goes deep over the middle, 1st down. And Webster Slaughter has his 1st reception of the ball game. That is number 75 on the year, and he picks up 19 yards.
And the body language says it all. Did you see how slowly he got up? With the deep hook, he gets behind the zone. Stevan Moore just settles down with the hand up there on the 49-yard line, makes the catch. Now he takes the hit, and if we follow it clear to the end, oh, does he get up slowly? That rib cartilage is messed up. Little pad covering his right rib cage today. It's really a bother.
And here is the draw to Gary Brown. Mike Johnson and Stevan Moore make the tackle. 34-yard line.
The comparisons have already started with regards to Gary Brown and Earl Campbell, and he said, come on, that is so unfair. He says, I've just barely gotten in the lineup. But you can see, even at 5'11" and 229 pounds, he's got a little shake in his bake, and he can get by the tacklers, not just run over them.
And with still 6 minutes to go in the first quarter, he's already rushed for 44 yards. And it is 2nd down and 2. Moon, a little stutter step, stands in, goes deep over the middle, has a man into the 15, inside the 10-yard line. It is Webster Slaughter with his 2nd reception of the ball game. 27 yards on the play.
The offensive line is the reason for this completion. Take a look at the protection that Warren Moon gets. He looks right, looks to the middle, looks left, and is able to come off on Webster Slaughter. Stevan Moore, normally a strong safety, covering man for man on Webster Slaughter. Truly a mismatch and advantage for the Oilers.
And you asked Warren yesterday if he is not standing in a little bit longer.
Well, he's got a lot more confidence in these people. And it's interesting, too, because their left tackle, Charlie Hopkins, is a rookie. And yet, because of the protection that he's been afforded, he's not afraid.
First down goal to go. He is Brown, and he is upended at the 5-yard line. He picks up a couple. It'll be 2nd down and goal to go.
That might, you know what, I'm glad you asked me that. That might seem like a trite point, but for those that follow the Houston Oilers, remember that in the first 5 games of the season when they were 1-4, Warren was victimized by what is popularly called happy feet. And that's because the offensive line was doing a poor job of protecting him. Now, over the last couple of games, as the sacks have gone down, clearly, as Warren admitted to us yesterday, it's not as much as a bother. And even though they will blitz off the corners, he's still going to hang in there because he knows the people will pick up their assignments.
2nd down, goal to go. Gary Brown is the running back. Now, there's an audible. He comes up to hear it. It's been a problem. And we've got two guys in motion.
And the problem
is in the end zone, and this is
going to come back.
He doesn't know it's going to come back, but it is. Now he's being told. And this is the problem, and that's the reason that he signals for the quiet.
Chip, offense, 2 men moving, and they did not reset prior to the snap.
And when Gary Brown comes out, he wants everybody in the end zone to be quiet so he can hear if there is an audible, and that's they get caught, and it's been a problem.
Well, that has been a problem, but one of the things, you'll see to the left of your screen, Gary Brown steps up, keeps moving. Now, here's the issue, Charlie. If Webster Slaughter right there can stop, because he's not a key, obviously, to the running game inside, then it's okay. But he's supposed to go in motion as a result. That's a mistake on the part of Brown, having to lean up to get, as you say, the audible.
2nd down and goal to go with the penalty. The ball now at the 10-yard line. Warren throws over the middle. It is incomplete. Ernest Gibbons, the intended receiver, and he was nailed by Del Spear and Eric Turner.
Very thing that we were just talking about. 5'9", 172 pounds, number 81, coming from the right of your screen, is willing to take the punishment. Cuts across the middle, makes the catch. Here comes Eric Turner, and he puts the hammer on Gibbons, separating him from the football. 6'1", 205 pounds. Eric Turner, nearly 120 tackles this year, 15 passes defensed, having an outstanding season. In fact, he had some shoulder problems coming into this game, but he said, there's no way I'm not going to play against the run and shoot. He made his mark on that play.
3rd down, goal to go from the 10. Here's the pressure, and Warren is simply throwing this one away. He got outside. New rule, he got outside the offensive tackles being chased, and so as long as he gets the ball near the line of scrimmage, then he can avoid the loss.
It's a good call by Nick Saban and the defensive people of Cleveland. They come with the blitz here. Inside, Stevan Moore is not touched, as you mentioned. Moon clearly just trying to get the ball away. And, of course, the advantage you mentioned with regards to the rule where the Houston Oilers are concerned, because they don't play with the tight end, that supposed boundary might be a little more narrow for the Houston quarterback than it might be for another team.
27-yard field goal attempt by Al Del Greco. And it is good. And the Houston Oilers are on the board. The score, Cleveland 10, Houston 3. We'll be back with the kickoff in a moment. Houston Oilers with their first 3 points of the ballgame. They've had 2 very costly penalties. One was a holding penalty. That cost them a first down. That led to their first punt. That led to Cleveland Browns' first touchdown. And then the motion penalty that cost them a touchdown here.
we're talking about that with regards to Gary Brown. I wonder, we sit here, we blame him. That should be a situation, first of all, where the crowd should be cognizant of the fact in this end zone, hey, we're at home. We should be quiet so they can hear it. And then Warren Moon, the quarterback, should be able to look back and say, hey, you're the guy getting the ball, so it's imperative that you understand. If you stay still, I'll get it to you.
I'll come and tell you.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Come back. I agree. All right, Al Del Greco will kick off with Eric Metcalf and Randy Baldwin, the return man. And here is Baldwin in the end zone, and he is going to down it. And we'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. In the AFC West, Kansas City and Denver hook up this afternoon in the second half of the doubleheader at Mile High Stadium. The Chiefs with a record of 9-3, Denver and the Los Angeles Raiders both at 7-5. And should Kansas City defeat Denver and Seattle upset the Raiders, that Kansas City would win the West today. Kansas City, Denver following this game over most of these stations.
But let's not forget, it has been an entire decade, 11 years in fact. 1982 was the last time Kansas City won in Denver. So they've got their work cut out for them.
And Seattle has their work cut out for them against the Raiders too. And Tommy Vardell has 3 yards to the 23-yard line. It'll be second down and 7. The Giants with an early lead over the Colts, 13-0. They're in the second quarter in that ball game. Tampa Bay out in front of Chicago by a score of 3-0. Buffalo and Philadelphia, no score. Thurman Thomas is out. The Rams now in front of New Orleans. They have come from behind to take the lead in that ball game, and still Cincinnati, New England, no score in the second. Here, Cleveland leading Houston by a score of 10-3. Testaverde, good protection, goes deep, right on target. Great pass. Michael Jackson down the sideline and out of bounds at the 42-yard line of Houston, where Steve Jackson, who was last week's Defensive Player of the Week in the AFC, finally got him after he picked up 35 yards.
Well, it's simply a fly route. Steve Jackson doesn't guess right. He should have been backpedaling right there. He's standing still, and as he's standing still, Michael Jackson's able to just run past him. As you mentioned, 2 interceptions last week, and prior to that, he was deeply ensconced in Buddy Ryan's doghouse, and after that play, he might reconsider his habitat.
And it is a first down for Cleveland at the Houston 42-yard line. And Tommy Vardell to the 40. He's going to pick up a couple of yards. It'll be second down and 8. Glenn Montgomery making the stop for the Houston Oilers. Montgomery stands 6 feet even, now weighs about 295. Now we say that because William Fuller is 6'3", Ray Childress is 6'6", and Sharon Jones is 6'7". He's like a midget right in the middle of that defensive line.
But he is the heaviest of the group, ironically, at 295. Nowadays, you see so many guys 300 pounds plus. He's the heaviest man on the defensive line for the Houston Oilers.
Second down and 8. Here's the blitz, and he's throwing it away. Now for an update, let's go to New York City and Jim Lamb. Jim?
Charlie, the Giant ground game is pounding the run-leaky Colts. Rodney Hampton, 88 yards and a TD in the first quarter. So in the second, Phil Simms with that 17-yard strike to Chris Callaway. The Giants botched the PAT. The Colts have added a field goal. It's 13-3 Giants in the second. Back to Charlie and Todd.
And Phil Simms continues to amaze everyone. Remember a couple of years ago, his career was through. Dan Reeves came in and said, he's my man. And he certainly has had a great year.
Sure has.
Third down and 9.
Right tackle move. They'll let that go.
And that is Gene Williams.
False start before the snap. Number 62, offense. 5 yards, third down.
A lot of pressure on that offensive line when they come up with those multiple fronts, and that's exactly what Buddy Ryan is trying to do, confuse people. Williams has to move a little to the outside, and that's what he does. He follows William Fuller's movement to the outside, but he can't do it before the snap, needless to say, and the Browns are 5 yards back.
The offensive line for the Cleveland Browns has given up only 4 sacks in the last 3 games. And last week they shut out New Orleans, the leading sacking team in the NFL.
And Tony Jones, the left tackle, Ronaldo Turnbull, the leading sacker of the National Football League, nowhere near close to the quarterback. Did an outstanding job.
3rd down, 14. Pressure. Pass is pulled down at the 30-yard line. That's where he caught it. Now he was hit. Comes to the turf at the 32. It's in the neighborhood of the 1st down. It's Mark Carrier, the possession receiver and the all-time leading receiver from Tampa Bay, who the Browns signed as a free agent.
As a big catch by Carrier. Testaverde steps up and makes the throw, but Carrier took a shot right in the middle of the back and still able to hang on.
Joy's going to be 4th down and a foot.
Now this makes for an interesting decision just because of the fact that Stover kicked the 54-yarder earlier.
Kick another one.
No, but I'm saying normally in this situation you might go for it. In this case they are.
They are going to go for it.
Well, you're 6-6. This is for all the marbles. There's no point in debating it. You've got to let it all hang out here in this game, and Bill Belichick understands that.
But are you leaving 3 points on the table? I mean, the way that Matt Stover is kicking.
Now, don't forget that. I mean, that's great.
I know that's a long one.
He did hit the 53-yarder, but you know, a 50-yard field goal is not exactly a gimme.
I wanted you to say that.
You got it.
All right. 4th down and a foot.
Oh, no.
And he's overthrown. Clarence Williams was wide open.
What a great call. What a great call by Bill Belichick. Charlie, earlier in the season, you and I had a Notre Dame-Florida State game where a halfback pass, the man's wide open. Just throw it up for grabs, Leroy Hoard. Don't try and throw it perfectly. Look how open he is. Throw it end over end, shot put it. Do whatever you have to do, but don't try and lead him. Take a look at Buddy Ryan going, oh, no, oh, no. Oh, good. The ball's too far. What a relief. Not very happy with Sean Jones for not being in coverage, but they got away with one there. Belichick is the man that has to be frustrated. You can see the smile on Leroy Hoard's face, but, oh, boy. What a shame for the Cleveland Browns. Had a great opportunity.
It was right there, and like you say, you just want to put it up in the air and let him run under it. Don't try and make the perfect pass.
That shows that's a gutsy call on the part of Bill Belichick.
So Houston takes over on downs, 1st and 10 at their own 32-yard line. And Moon is back to throw. And he goes deep, and the pass is pulled in by Haywood Jeffrey.
They're going to tack on 15.
And they'll add a personal foul against the Cleveland Browns. 21 yards.
Personal foul,
15.
unnecessary roughness, 92 defense.
That's Michael Dean Perry.
How many times have you and I watched games where a thing turns around on one play? There it is. They go for it on 4th and 1. A brilliant call. The play goes awry, and what happens to the momentum? They turn around. The Houston Oilers. Finally, Haywood Jeffries catches a ball around midfield. Right at the end of the play, you see Michael Dean Perry with a hold of Warren Moon. Instead, he takes a swing. Look at the face. He gives a facial to Doug Dostin. The official sees it, tacks on another 15 yards. Now they're in field goal range on one play.
And it wasn't the grab of Warren Moon's jersey. It was the continuing pushing and shoving afterward. And anytime you're going to the face or the head, you're going to get called. You got to stay below the shoulder.
Well, or don't do it right in front of the official.
Even better. 32-yard line of Cleveland. Browns lead it by a score of 10-3. And here is Gary Brown, and he is cut down. Bill Johnson makes the tackle as we go to New York for an update.
Charlie, the Buffalo offense remains a B movie. They drive to the 6-yard line of Philly in a scoreless game, but alas, a scrambling Jim Kelly picks out Philly DB Eric Allen betwixt and between the receivers Brooks and Beebe. It remains 0-0 in the vet. We go back to Charlie and Todd.
And Buffalo, of course, is, without, half a dozen of their key players now. They've really had a lot of injuries. They need to get everybody healthy. It's 2nd down and 11 at the Cleveland 33. Browns out in front of the ballgame 10-3. Nice play action fake. Here's the pressure. Warren Moon steps away. Now he is brought down. Oh, Warren was battling for his life. Bill Johnson was there along with James Jones, Jerry Ball.
I give a lot of credit to this Cleveland team.
Oh, they're coming, aren't they?
I mean, here they are, get down to the 32-yard line, first down. They stuff Gary pass. The rush comes in. Can't quite get a hold of him. Moon escapes. By this time, you think a receiver would have broken free, but that's not the case. And once again, another big play by Bill Johnson as he sacks Moon.
And that is the end of the first quarter. We'll be back in just a moment. And as a program reminder, don't forget the Chiefs and the Broncos, the second half of the doubleheader here on NBC. But right now, don't forget this one. You've got a good one going between the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Oilers. As we start the second quarter, Cleveland leads by a score of 10-3. Houston, by the way, with an 8-4 record. If they were to come from behind and win this ball game today, and then next week at Pittsburgh, they were also to win, and they could capture the title in the Central Division. So they have a lot at stake. And meanwhile, Cleveland with that record of 6-6, with a victory here, an upset of the Houston Oilers, what they do is they simply mess up everybody's predictions in the Central Division, and it makes it a grab bag for the last 3 weeks. Third down and 17. 39-yard line of Cleveland as we start the second quarter. Moon has pressure, throws underneath the covers to Jeffries. And Jeffries goes out of bounds, but he's going to be way shy of the first down. Now remember, it was third down and 17.
But of course, what he did do is get the ball in field goal position for Del Greco. For whatever reason, is it just me? Haywood Jeffries has been catching and sliding, and in that time he one hands and fumbles the ball. He doesn't seem to be quite in sync yet with Warren Moon for whatever reason.
That is Moon's 5th completion, and he has had 13 attempts thus far in the ball game. And now from the 38-yard line, a 48-yard field goal attempt by Al Del Greco. He has hit twice here in the Dome from 52 yards away.
Nice kick.
And he has got this one.
You know, last year he had 2 big misses in the regular season that people were haunting him for. This season, as you mentioned, 20 of 24. He's only had 1 miss inside of 50 yards, having an outstanding year.
The score is now Cleveland 10, the Houston Oilers 6 on a pair of field goals by Al Del Greco of 27 and 48 yards. Here is a program note. Next Saturday on NBC Sports World, following NFL action, we'll bring you the world's largest street basketball tournament, including the Court of Dreams, where the Streetball World Champions take on NBA legends. Plus, College Player of the Year Sheryl Swoopes meets Michael Jordan, a one-on-one showdown. Then an encore presentation, the U.S. Gymnastics Championship, led by 1992 Olympic all-around silver medalist Shannon Miller. Hoop it up, U.S. Gymnastics Championship next Saturday on NBC.
Wait.
Wait.
Sheryl Swoopes
What is this? Wait.
versus Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, he's retired.
Sheryl, I see. He's lost all his skills.
That's right.
Now he's at age 31. He just can't do it.
He can't do it anymore. That's right.
So Sheryl Swoopes is going to dunk over him.
That's right.
Well,
yeah.
You know, she's she led Texas Tech to the NCAA title last season. I know she's big down here in Texas, but in that contest,
she's going to be big nationally.
Let me go out on a limb. In that contest, I like Mike.
Boy.
Ooh, boy, huh? How bold am I?
Man, is that an upset?
Ooh, boy. Warren Moon hasn't exactly had a scintillating beginning here for the Houston Oilers. On the other side, however, Vinny Testaverde has been doing very well. Evidently, the shoulder problems that he's had earlier are not bothering him today.
Metcalf and Horde are the deep backs on the return. Cleveland, of course, wants Metcalf with the ball. The Houston Oilers would prefer that Leroy Horde down it in the end zone, which he does. And now let's take a look at the comparison of the 2 quarterbacks.
Moon under 50%, Testaverde 116 yards already in just barely, well, actually it is 1 quarter of work. I always love how you translate that. Okay, in 1 quarter that's 116, so that means 464. Yeah, it doesn't quite work that way.
Only on paper.
And I'll bet you by the end of the game, Warren Moon isn't under 50% either. Cleveland
now leading by a score of 10-6. And they start from their own 20-yard line, first down.
This is the worst field position that Cleveland has had thus far in the game, Charlie. Their average start up to this point has been at the 41-yard line.
Play action fake. And here's the sack. Led by Wilber Marshall and Ray Children.
One of the things they do now in the National Football League with regards to sacks is they divide them up in halves. Well, this one might have to be divided up in thirds. Take a look all at the same time. Pow! 1, 2. Well, Sean kind of flew through on the pile, so I guess they'll split that one between Wilber Marshall and Ray Childress.
The Houston Oilers now have 37 sacks on the year, and 29 of the 37 by their front four. 2nd and 18. We have a flag, and the play is stopped. The throw was to the tight end, Brian Kenton.
Start before the snap, number 62, offense.
Ball start, Gene Williams.
Second down.
It'll be 2nd down and 23.
Once again, William Fuller, who a couple of weeks ago had 4 sacks in a single game, he is obviously creating problems for Gene Williams. But it's not just Fuller that's creating the problems. Watch when Cleveland gets up to the line of scrimmage again. Here's 62 just left of your screen. There you see the flex. Good call by the official. Watch when they get up to the line of scrimmage and listen to the noise in the end zone. That's going to make it that much more difficult for the Cleveland Browns.
For a loss. William Fuller nails it.
I want to tell you something here that I'd like to see. It's one of the things that this would be a great time for it if Cleveland had the guy that could do it. Remember the old quick kick?
Yeah.
Right now inside the 5-yard line. If they send it between the quarterback and the guy were to punt it out of there, because now what is it, 3rd and 97, whatever it is, what a great time right now for a quick kick, right?
Anything.
Right?
If you're Cleveland, sure. Over the middle, Kitchen, he cannot pull it in. Just out of the reach of the tight end, Brian Kitchen. Dishman and Lathan had the coverage, but he was open.
That was the right idea in the seam of the zone. Interesting that Houston would go to the zone here a little bit too conservative. And Testaverde, if he just gets his feet back and set, puts a little bit less on that ball, Kitchen might be able to come up with it.
Now Brian Hansen will be kicking from the back edge of the end zone. And Willie Drury is the return man. Not that good a kick. Taken at the 38-yard line. Inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. Gerald Dixon with the tackle, a 35-yard kick, 9-yard return. Early in the season, everyone was wondering about the Houston Oilers and Buddy Ryan with his famed defensive skill. And right now, we have seen the defense of the Houston Oilers completely take advantage and have turned the momentum around and given it to the offense of Houston.
Didn't Elvis do a movie called The Blue Wave?
Yes.
That's what it looked like in this last series. It was a blue wave. Yeah. They were coming, and now, beginning here in the second quarter, they're taking advantage of the field position they did not have in the first quarter, setting up now on the 29-yard line.
But don't forget that Cleveland still has the lead by a score of 10-7. And here is Gary Brown. It was kind of fun to talk to him yesterday because all of a sudden, you know, he's got this fame and this notoriety, and he said, how has it changed? He said, well, to tell you the truth, Friday night I went to a restaurant, same restaurant I've been going to for 3 years. Nobody paid any attention to me. The owner came over, the general manager came over, the maitre d' came over.
And now he goes to the record store, and instead of having to pay retail price for the CDs, he gets 2 free and 1 half price. All of a sudden, it's Gary, my man, what's up? Yeah, my main man, let me do something for you.
You're always there for us.
For 2 years, he had leprosy. Now, all of a sudden, he's their best friend.
Warren Moon to throw. And he drills this one incomplete. He was throwing into tough coverage. Webster Slaughter has 2 receptions in the ball game and 76 on the year, the intended receiver.
Well, Webster Slaughter just started to run today. This is the first time he's done any running. He turns more around, and you can see there the ball's completely behind him. A little farther out, he might have had a shot at the catch. But Slaughter has not run this week, has not practiced this week. In fact, Jack Pardee said it was going to be a game-time decision. He came out and ran, didn't feel terrific, but he said, hey, I got to do it.
And you can see on the jersey it's like half a rib pad, and he doesn't like to wear them. And you didn't either, did you?
No, you can see right there, he wants to be as quick as possible. As few pads as possible is how he wants to do it.
Second down and 10 is Gary Brown. He angles to the corner. And he is going to pick up the first down at the 5-yard line. Randy Hilliard and Stevan Moore finally chase him out. He has 68 yards rushing already.
Watch to the right of your screen when he gets to the outside. The wide receivers are running their routes. See the defensive backs? Their backs are turned. And so when he gets into the secondary, there's no run support because they have to be man for man with their receivers. All the receivers do in that case is they take off the field, and when the DBs turn their backs, that means that Gary Brown has some running room.
The officials have called a timeout. He got inside the marker on the opposite side of the field. The chain's on the near side of the field.
I know I said this earlier in the first quarter, but I don't understand why they don't do it. I tell you what, Gary Brown's my horse. Let's saddle him up and ride him till he drops. The man is doing a great job. And Warren Moon, what did we just say? 6 for 14, whatever he is.
There's the first down.
Now here, Houston has to be cognizant of the fact, look at the, 82 yards rushing by the Houston Oilers? Boy, that's a change. And of course, Gary Brown, as we've mentioned, is having an outstanding first half. Here is where Warren Moon shouldn't even bother with the audibles. Come up right now and say, Gary, here's the play. This is what we're going to do. Don't run the risk of costing yourself another touchdown here on the end zone. And the fans, too, better keep their mouths quiet this time.
First down and goal, and here is Gary Brown, right side, and he is pulled out. He's going to pick up about a half a yard on the play. Jerry Ball was there to wrap him up. It'll be second down and goal to go. Jerry Ball has a lot of family and friends. Is that right? How many tickets did he buy? 75 tickets? Now that's how much money did he spend?
That's about $2,000 worth of tickets that he just spent.
Yeah, he is from Beaumont Westbrook High School. He says, you know, this is my area. And I want all my family and friends here, but now I'm going to be here at least once a year. He said, I've got to stop all this. He said, then what if they all want to go to dinner? This could become a costly weekend.
Speaking of costly, that's Gary Brown, who's down right there. Checking himself out. It's not the legs. I think he got the wind knocked out of him. That's what they, trust me, they pull that up and they say, okay, take a breath. He's talking, so he seems to be okay. He's saying, well, you know what, the thing with NAFTA, I don't really agree with that because I think it's going to cost us some jobs in the short run, but take a look at the end zone replay. We'll see. He's going to run smack into Jerry Ball, cutting to the inside. Look at Ball just smashing. Bruce Matthews comes over the top, has his arms around him. Watch at the end of the play how he ends up. Bang, right on top of that elbow and right on top of his chest come a barrage of Cleveland Browns. I guess he's going to be all right. He is part of that new breed of back. We've mentioned this before in other broadcasts, Charlie. Most of, if not all, of the exemplary backs in the National Football League are under 6 feet tall. Gary Brown, 5'11", 229 pounds. Great center of gravity. Powerful thighs. You wanted to measure his thighs yesterday, didn't you?
Yes, we talked about it because when Earl Campbell was a rookie, his thighs were 36 inches.
I still can't believe that.
I know. Well, we
36 inches.
Yeah, 36 inches.
Man.
Spencer Tillman is now the running back as Brown goes out. Little play action fake. Moon punts, scrambles, has a man open, hits him in the end zone, touchdown. And it's Spencer Tillman. Spencer Tillman, who has become the vocal leader of the offense and one of the most popular men on the team of the Houston Oilers, and you can see how everybody is sharing in his success.
That's exactly right. He's the special teams captain, and as you mentioned, a leader, one of the more popular guys. How many Houston Oilers are not normally an emotional team, and you saw half the bench go out to congratulate Spencer Tillman. well-read, eloquent young man who does some television work here in the Houston area. Comes in for one play and gets a touchdown. He's got to be a happy cat.
And the Houston Oilers have taken the lead 12-10. Here's the extra point attempt. And it is good. So Houston leading for the first time in the ball game now, 13-10. We'll be back with the kickoff in a moment. Spencer Tillman, who has scored his first career touchdown as a receiver, well, his work is never done. He's on the kickoff team.
I know that feeling. Here it is. Hey, that's great. You scored a touchdown. Now get your butt out there. You got to run into this kick.
That is the first touchdown that he has scored in 6 years. His last one was on November the 1st, 1987. That was his first career touchdown. That was rushing. This is his second career touchdown. It's receiving. And here's Leroy Horde. And Horde is to the 10, the 15. And he's going to work his way back close to the 18-yard line. And we have a little pushing and shoving and a check of other scores. And let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, Tillman actually gets a bump. He gets lost. Watch, he's the back right here. He takes the fake, gets lost underneath Jerry Ball. He slips under his right arm. Now pump fake, comes back to the outside, and of course nobody has him in coverage because they're under the assumption that he's blocking. All alone in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, number 2 in his career for Spencer Tillman.
And we do have some good news for Houston Oilers fans. Gary Brown has a bruised shoulder, but he should be able to return. Cleveland now trailing 13-10, and they start from the 19-yard line. And the ever-shifting defense of the Houston Oilers. And the blitz is picked up. The hot receiver is the tight end Kitchen. Ball pops loose, and the Oilers have it. Wilber Marshall. And Marcus Robertson team up for the Oilers.
Wilber Marshall comes in on the blitz, and Testaverde just gets it out. Good catch by Kitchen, and he comes upfield. Now let's watch Marcus Robertson right there, puts his helmet right on the ball. The ball bounces up. Nice catch there by Marshall, and that is now the 33rd takeaway by the Houston Oilers. That's tied for tops in the National Football League. Take a look at the forced turnovers. We mentioned it takes a while to get used to that 46 defense. First 5 games, and look at the last 7 in that winning streak. How many times they've taken the ball away, an average of more than 3 per game.
And Gary Brown is in the offensive set for Houston as they start at the 32-yard line of Cleveland. Oilers up by 3. 13-10, Warren Moon passes complete at the 30-yard line, and that is Gary Brown. He is decked immediately by Randy Hilliard. It'll be second down.
Well, I guess his shoulder's okay, because he took a lick.
9 minutes, 56 seconds and counting. Time remaining in the first half. Cleveland was out in front by a score of 10-0. The Oilers now with 13 unanswered points have taken the lead by 3. And it's second down and 8. And we have a flag. Brown slips a couple of tackles. He is to the 20-yard line.
Ernest Givens was moving. It's a bad decision on the part of Ernest Givens. Webster Slaughter is in motion, and Givens is moving while he's in motion. That's why it's going to come back.
Illegal shift. Offense. 2 men moving before the snap, and they did not reset. 5 yards, second down.
Second time in the ball game that the Oilers have had 2 men moving at the snap. It'll be second down and 13.
Gary Brown's not very happy about that. That just cost him about 15 yards tacked on as he's heading towards a 100-yard game. The reason Jack Pardee is complaining is he's saying that it wasn't so much movement on the part of Givens as much as pointing people and moving them around. But the reality is that if he's moving and his feet are moving, that's what the official sees, and it was a good call.
Second down and 13. pressure. He slips a tackle. He heads for the sidelines, and he goes running out of bounds. Has Warren forgotten about sliding? He's not sliding in this game.
No, what Warren has forgotten about is the calendar, and I wish that you and I could forget about the calendar, partner.
He is 37.
37 years of age, but this is not timed with the sundial. We do that from time to time and kid people that can't run, but Warren Moon tucks it under his shoulder. Gary Bound leading him downfield, and you're right. Cuts out of bounds at about the 25-yard line, and he's running as well as ever. I don't know what his 40 time is, but looks good to me.
Timeout.
Warren has thrown for 98 yards. He has rushed for 23, and he wants a breather. I don't blame him. Hey, take a timeout. Get your breath. Stop the clock. 8:57 left to go. Wise decision, Warren. We'll be back in a moment. Third down and 4.
And Warren Moon, we were talking about, it's a strategy timeout. Take a look at the sweat underneath his chin. Yeah, that's no strategy timeout. He was winded.
It's recovery timeout. Third down and 4. Had the first down. Webster slaughtered. I've got to believe that when he reached up for that, you stretch that cartilage right in his chest, and has to hurt. Has to be the pain that caused him to drop that. He just simply doesn't drop that.
No, he doesn't. Webster Slaughter, best hands on the Houston Oilers. It's unanimous. Good move to the outside, makes the break. Ball's right there, right in his hands. Comes down, his right hand can't hang on to it. You can see his reaction right there. He can't believe it, and of course, neither can Warren.
And Al Del Greco will attempt from the 34-yard line a 44-yard field goal attempt. He is 2 for 2, 27 and 48 yards away. And before the snap,
Ball start before the snap, number 72 offense.
and
5
that's
yards.
the rookie Brad Hopkins.
Fourth down.
Jack Pardee trying to get people to calm down. Clearly the momentum had shifted to their side. Now, instead of a little bit shorter field goal, we're looking at close to 50 yards here. That could make a difference. Del Greco when that happened, and he bowed his head a little bit and lost his concentration. I'll be interested to see if he can recoup it here. It's not as simple as just, it's just another 5 yards. Now he has to take a little bit longer step, hit the ball a little bit harder than he might want to.
49-yard attempt, and it is straight, and does he nail this one? Woo! He could have hit from 60.
Of course, then again, I could be wrong. My goodness.
No problem. Al Del Greco, 3 for 3, 16 to 10. Houston out in front of Cleveland now with 8:49 left to go in the first half. And we're all looking forward to the New Year and Bowl Day on NBC, the Fiesta Bowl, Miami and Arizona. We'll be in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, the Mobile Cotton Bowl, number 4 Notre Dame against Texas A&M. And that could be quite a matchup. Nobody is really for sure how good Texas A&M is. Everybody knows how good Notre Dame is. And then followed by the Federal Express Orange Bowl, number 1 Nebraska, number 2 Florida State for the national championship.
Okay, let's play a game for a little bit. Okay. Is there a possibility that Notre Dame could still end up number 1? Say they hammer Texas A&M, Florida State defeats Nebraska 21-17. What's your decision then?
What does West Virginia do?
Okay, well, let's
I just thought I'd ask.
No, that's a legitimate point. Say West Virginia wins by a touchdown, by 4 points, 3 points, something like that. They beat Florida 17-13. Does Notre Dame then get the national title?
Is there anybody else left?
Yeah, Auburn.
I don't know. No,
Auburn's still undefeated.
And Auburn wins the national title.
Right, okay. No. Well, they will. They will in the bowl that, because the reason I asked that, Charlie, is that 16 years ago in the Cotton Bowl, number 1 Texas plays number 5 Notre Dame. Notre Dame hammers Texas in the game, and they leapfrog from 5-1. So I think that there's still an outside possibility, even though there is an anti-Notre Dame faction out there, that the Irish could end up with a national title, because certainly if Florida State beats Nebraska, what are the Notre Dame people going to say? Hey, wait a minute, we beat them. Oh, that argument is so much fun.
That's what makes college football so much fun. And that's the reason a lot of aficionados of college football do not want a playoff system, because you can end up with all of these kind of arguments and discussions this time of the year. The kickoff is high and is short, keeping it away from Metcalf. And here is Hort. He bobbles it, picks it up at the 2, sidesteps one. Oiler, that's it. He's going to be down on the 3-yard line. Lane Bishop leading the special teams of the Houston Oilers. And now we've got some really pushing and shoving and some challenging after the play in the end zone. And Cleveland is in deep trouble.
One of the first things you do is you don't catch the ball going backwards. Hort is going backwards. The ball comes off his chest, and he's stuck right there. It's all over. Right there, he should just fall down and not give the ball up. Bishop comes back after missing the tackle the first time. And Metcalf and John Henry Mills getting into it, a lot of yapping. Metcalf is a terrific football player, but I don't like his chance. He saw the little movement with the hands. Okay, I'm cool. I'm cool. What's there to say? Don't drop the ball.
Now, Eric Metcalf has not been involved in the Cleveland Browns since way early in the first quarter. Remember, he scored the touchdown in their first offensive play. He now is back into the offensive set. He was out for a breather the last time that the Browns had the ball on offense.
There you go.
And he is across the 10-yard line to the 11-yard line, where he is hit by Marcus Robertson. But for the Browns to be successful, they have to capitalize on the abilities of Eric Metcalf, and that's a plural.
And notice the run right there. That helped to silence the crowd. 7-yarder. The man is averaging 5.2 yards per carry. Look at the total yards here in this second quarter. Cleveland not even on the positive side of things yet.
And we have just over 8 minutes to go in the second period. Second down and 2. Little play action fake. Throw back over the middle, and that was more or less a desperation pass. Well, Clarence Williams, the tight end, the intended receiver, but I tell you, Testaverde was, he had pressure, and he wasn't accurate at all with that throw.
Well, the misdirection is supposed to have people coming to the right, but they didn't get fooled. The Oilers did a good job of reading the misdirection, and Testaverde there just gets rid of it.
And it is third down and 2. New England with the early lead on Cincinnati, 7-0 in that ballgame. Testaverde has completed 6 of 11, 139 yards, and 1 touchdown, and that was on the first play of the game, the 49-yard touchdown pass to Eric Metcalf. Third and 2, pass is caught at the 15-yard line, Mark Carrier, and he will pick up the first down. Blaine Bishop with the tackle.
Carrier runs a safe route. It's called a swirl route. It looks like he's going to go inside and run across, and all of a sudden he pivots and cuts back to the outside. Very safe underneath throw. Mark Carrier, as you mentioned, all-time receiver for the Tampa Bay Bucks. He is, as Bill Belichick told us yesterday, their go-to guy.
Cleveland again had the early 10-0 lead. The Oilers 16 unanswered points. And this one is intercepted. Chris Dishman with the interception.
Now, I think that they're going to call interference, which to me makes no sense. Dishman makes a break on the ball. No, no, no. Gee, this is not a good call at all.
Illegal contact, number 28 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down, automatic first down.
And that, of course, is the 5-yard chuck rule. They said that he chucked him after he was past 5 yards.
But the point is that he chucks him and going for the ball right here. He collides with him here to go with the ball to the outside. It has nothing to do with impeding Michael Jackson. It's an awful call by the official. Take a look at number 28. Now watch. He reads on him right here. He bumps him to go after the ball. He's going after the ball. It has nothing to do with this. He is entitled to the ball. It's a bad call by the official. Interesting note, though, with regards to Dishman. Did you notice how he went over to the official? This is a guy who was noted during his years with Glanville getting all sorts of personal fouls and losing control of himself. That time, very calm. Comes over and said, you made a mistake, and he's right.
It's a first down at the 20-yard line. And here is Metcalf. He has a couple of yards, maybe 3 off of the right side. And it'll be second down and long. Al Smith makes the tackle.
Al Smith is somebody that's taken a little abuse in the press, and initially by Buddy Ryan. When Buddy Ryan came in, the first thing he said to Al Smith is, "I want you to lose 20 pounds." And of course, for somebody who's a two-time Pro Bowler, you might take umbrage to that, but instead, he worked hard, did what he had to do. He realizes that Michael Barrow, the second-round pick, was hand-picked by Buddy Ryan, but Al Smith continues to do what he does best, and that's make tackles and run them down from sideline to sideline.
Houston 16, Cleveland 10. Just over 6 minutes to go in the first half. Here's Metcalf. Nice inside-out move. He has the first down. So now Eric Metcalf making his presence felt. Bubba McDowell finally stops him after 14. Remember practice yesterday? Bubba McDowell was so late getting to practice. Everybody cheered him. They carried him in on his shoulders.
Well, he comes when he feels like it, I guess, when you're playing well. As you mentioned, Metcalf with a good inside-out move with a great 4-4 speed to the outside gets him the first down.
37-yard line. Cleveland starting, remember, back at their own 3-yard line. Eric has rushed for 28 yards, and he has that 49-yard touchdown reception on the first offensive play of the game for Cleveland.
Oh, nice. What a move
by Metcalf. Oh, he's putting on a show.
He really is. That's a 2-yard loss. Instead, he makes a 360 move and turns it into nearly a 6-yard gain. Now he's exciting to watch. Take a look from the left side. Glenn Montgomery busts in, and he has him right, at least so he thinks. Makes the 360, cuts back to the interior. Smart on the part of Metcalf because he goes back to where the hole is supposed to be. A lot of times runners don't have that savvy. They take off on their own and get losses. Instead, he goes back to where it's supposed to be, gets 6 yards.
Montgomery's got to say, he was right here. Where did he go?
Phantom.
2nd and 4. Testaverde starts to run, throws, passes complete far side. That's Michael Jackson. He's got the first down, and Marcus Robertson makes the stop. Marcus Robertson, Buddy Ryan told us yesterday that Marcus Robertson is the best safety I have ever been around.
Well, that's
quite a statement.
That certainly is saying a lot. Michael Jackson here on Steve Jackson. Cuts back to the outside. Jackson, really, that's not that bad at coverage, but as soon as Testaverde breaks the pocket, Jackson has to be conscious of him running. Instead, he throws moving to his left. Nice throw to Jackson for the first down.
At the Houston 40-yard line, first down, 4.5 minutes to go, first half. And we've got flags.
False start.
How many false starts have we had in the ballgame on both sides of the ball?
5 yards, first down.
Yeah, certainly in the case of Cleveland, I don't think they can blame it on the noise. I just think in that case, Clarence Williams, I think it must have been a throw to the tight end. Look at how he takes off. Yeah. Boy, I tell you, he was like shot out of a cannon. Watch number 49 on the bottom of your screen. It's going to me. I'm gone. I'm gone.
Okay, get an early start.
That's it.
So it'll be first down and 15 with the ball at the Houston 45. Will lose a couple of yards. Bubba McDowell, the strong safety, was coming, and that's a blitz to stop the run, and it certainly was effective.
Remember, the strong safeties for Buddy Ryan have been outstanding players. People like Wes Hopkins, Doug Plank, for whom he invented the 4-6 because that was his jersey number. And I remember Todd Bell and Dave Duerson for the Chicago Bears. Now Bubba McDowell fills that role, but it's interesting. Bubba McDowell, only 6 feet tall, 198 pounds. Not exactly the big safety you'd think, but he can do everything on the football field.
Second down and 17. And the Oilers will rush 5 deep over the middle, and it is incomplete. Clarence Williams, the tight end, the intended receiver, Wilbur Marshall, had picked up the coverage. And Testaverde did not like the route he was running.
No, he didn't at all. He said, you're supposed to be coming back across the middle, but once again, let's give credit to Wilbur Marshall, torched earlier by Metcalf and by Kinchin on a route that he should have come up with. Right there, Wilbur Marshall, stride for stride with Williams.
The Cleveland Browns have converted only 1 of 4 third down opportunities. And this one is not very promising. This is third down and 17.
But let's not forget that Matt Stover did hit a 54-yard field goal earlier, so even if they don't get the first down, if they can pick up about 10 here, they'd have a shot at a field goal.
Lathan.
Lamar Lathan doing a little styling there. You see the big pad on his right forearm. He broke that forearm. Here he comes to the left of the screen. That's a mismatch on Brian Kitchen. Look at that. He just runs right over the top of the tight end to make the sack on Testaverde. 2 years ago, 7 sacks, over 100 tackles. They felt he was going to be a Pro Bowl player, but because of that broken right forearm, he's just now getting into the 46 defense.
Willie Drury is the return man for the Oilers. Brian Hansen is the kicker. And he gets good catch. Fair catch at the 14-yard line. We have 2 minutes and 48 seconds left to go in the first half. And Houston has the lead 16-10, and following that 39-yard kick and a little styling. We'll be back. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos, a classic matchup at Mile High Stadium. The second half of the doubleheader here today on NBC. And here at the Astrodome, we have 2:48 left to go in the first half. And Houston has a 16-10 lead and the ball at their own 19. Moon throws back to the opposite side. The pass is complete, and there's Ernest Gibbons. And he's got the first down.
This is what my dad used to refer to as somebody says a little scamp. That's what Ernest Gibbons is. He's tough. Guy's 5'9", as we mentioned, just barely 170 pounds soaking wet. And in there, instead of making all the funky moves to get open, what does he do? He lowers his shoulder and runs through 2 tackles. Man, you got to like him if you're a quarterback.
14 yards on the play. Houston now, they have thrown for 106 yards. They have rushed for 93 yards here in the first half.
Pretty nice balance.
They're going to rename it the Run, Run, and Shoot. And speaking of run, run, here is Gary Brown. To the 36-yard line, he'll pick up 7 yards on the play. It'll be second down and 3 as we now have worked our way to the 2-minute warning. Houston 16, Cleveland 10. We'll be back in a moment. We have 2 minutes to go in the first half here in the Astrodome. Gary Brown certainly has changed the offensive complexion of the Houston Oilers. And when we were talking with Jack Pardee yesterday, he said, don't forget, he got his opportunity because Lorenzo White was injured. He said, I got my opportunity as a player with the Rams when Larry Morris broke his leg. And he said, Todd, how did you get your opportunity?
And sure enough, Raymond Chester hurt his knee, as did Derek Ramsey. Of course, in his case, let's not forget, this is a man who is, Jack Pardee is a man who's been in 5 different Hall of Fames. I had been cut twice, so I think it was 2 or 3 guys that had to get hurt before I got my chance. What a terrific man.
Yes.
Coach of the year in how many different leagues? World Football League, Southwest Conference,
sure,
NFL, everything.
Be sure to stay with us at halftime for the Domino Pizza NFL Live halftime report. Jim Lampley will be joined by Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs. And also, we've talked about, of course, the second half of the doubleheader. There'll be a special feature at halftime.
There's my boy. There's my boy.
Marcus Allen.
Yeah, buddy.
Really one of the nice men.
Yeah, but it's really, you know what, Charlie? It's really, really a shame that he just can't play anymore, that he's lost
it all. And
yes. It's really just sad.
Yeah.
Sad. Now, in honor of Wayne's World 2, which is out, 13 touchdowns going into
an
today.
Awesome year,
Oh, man. Yeah. And what a great guy to have in your clubhouse. I think even Howie Long said that might be the toughest player he's ever played with, and that's saying a lot.
Second down and 3. Drops it over the middle to Haywood Jeffries, and it's a first down at the 43-yard line. Caldwell and Moore with the tackle, and the Oilers will now hurry it up. They want to at least find field goal position for Al Del Greco. He is hit from 48 and 49 yards. He's throwing this one away. You could tell by the trajectory of the throw that Warren was out of time, didn't want to waste any more time. And he was just drilling it into the ground at the feet of an intended receiver. So it'll be second down and 10 at the 44.
Notice you saw number 87 there just to the left of your screen. Pat Coleman, Webster Slaughter. Evidently the rib has acted up a little bit on him, because certainly in this 2-minute warning situation, you would think the Webster Slaughter would be out there. Evidently he's in some pain.
He has 2 receptions in the first half. His total for the year now is 76. He is going after that elusive 100 receptions. He wants to become the 7th man in NFL history.
And ironically, 2 of the 6 that have done it are Houston Oilers, Charlie Hennigan and Haywood Jeffries.
And Warren Moon is sacked. Defense led by Rob Burnett. That is the 36th sack for the Cleveland Browns. Clay Matthews had a piece of it last week. Cleveland had 9 sacks in the game against New Orleans. 9 sacks.
Well, it finally just broke down. Look at the push in the middle that came with the loop. Doug Dawson can't contain, and there it is. Number 90. In this case, that was Rob Burnett, who comes in, makes the sack. That's his 8.5 now sacks on the year for Burnett.
And Cleveland takes a timeout. They'll stop the clock now with 1:29 left to go in the half. And Houston facing a 3rd and 23.
Well, that's a big.
So Cleveland wants one more opportunity on offense.
Yeah, that was a big sack for them, because now they'll more than likely hand to Gary Brown, you know, just to make the clock run, punt, and then Cleveland will have an opportunity to get into field goal range. And of course, now they're buoyed by the fact that Stover hit that 53-yarder earlier, knowing that they don't have to go quite as far to get in range.
Cleveland is now out of timeouts. Houston has 2 timeouts remaining. And the line of scrimmage is just shy of the 32-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 23. Houston 16, Cleveland 10. Again, Houston atop the AFC Central. Their record is 8-4. They've won 7 in a row. Cleveland 6-6. And they need the victory to stay in the chase. And Moon goes deep, and it is incomplete. That was Travis Hanna, the rookie speedster from USC. He was chugging along. He said, I want to get to it. I want to get to it, but he couldn't quite get there.
Once again, this shows the confidence in the defense that Jack Pardee has. Travis Hanna, their fastest receiver, 4.26 40-yard dash that Hanna ran coming out of USC. And sure, he's open, but let's not forget, as lovely as this looks right here, as you can see Warren Moon doing his vertical jump, that stops the clock. And that affords now Cleveland an opportunity to have some time on the clock that they might not otherwise have had.
And Montgomery nails this one. Metcalf at the 20, the 25, the 30, and he returns to the 35-yard line. Now, what Montgomery was doing, he wanted to kick so that Metcalf caught the ball between the numbers and the sideline. The numbers, the big numbers, you know, 10, 20, 30 on the sideline, so that the coverage could converge on them, not in the middle of the field where he's got a lot of room to kind of roam around and find some openings.
Yeah, but the sad part there for the Houston Oilers is that with their inability to not stop the clock, figure a running play takes about 8 seconds, he's down. They use up the entire 40-second clock. Now, instead of 1:13, more than likely Cleveland has closer to 22 or 24 seconds. That could come back to haunt them, especially if Cleveland goes down and kicks the field goal.
47-yard punt, 15-yard return. Cleveland with 1:13 and no timeout have a first down at their own 35-yard line. Houston blitzing, and the pass is to the near side, and it is caught at the 40. No, one of the officials said yes, the other said no, said he trapped it. The official looking back into the catch said no. Michael Jackson, the intended receiver. Dishman had the coverage. There's the time remaining, 1:06.
Watch underneath the hands. There's Jackson. Does the ball come out? Sure does. You can just see it. It just comes out there at the 45-yard line, and he drags it in, the official on top of it.
Second down and 10. Here is the draw. I'm a bit surprised by that call. You're out of timeout. Metcalf gets the call, and Montgomery wraps him up immediately. And it's going to be third down and 10.
It's so funny. You see these head coaches, and gee, they've been and they know what to do in certain situations. All of a sudden, they do strange things like this.
Here comes the pressure. Testaverde has a man. He hits him. 30-yard line, 25. Inside the 25 is Keenan McCardle of UNLV. And now Cleveland has to hurry up. They do not have any more timeouts. A Houston player is down. Clock continues to move. Cleveland has said now they'll just spike it. And that stops the clock now with 15 seconds. 42 yards on the pass play to Keenan McCardle.
Now all of a sudden that long incompletion to Travis Hanna looms big, because with 15 seconds left in the half, this half should be over by all rights and purposes.
94 defense.
Blaine Bishop
5
all
yards.
over McCardle. And
First
as a
down.
result, great job on the part of Testaverde to spring through and get him the ball in the middle of the field. Now the Houston defense has to be aware of the fact that right now they have to throw into the end zone. Any play in the middle, Chris Dishman right there, that's a veteran move, trying to stall him, number 87. Now somebody else goes after him. Dishman saying, hey, what's the deal? Come on, call it on them.
The penalty against the Oilers takes the ball to the 18-yard line.
Now, if the Oilers are smart here, they back up into the end zone. Don't take any chances, because that's the only place they can go without the clock running out.
Little swing right side Metcalf. And he is inside the 5-yard line to the 3-yard line.
Problem is, he didn't get out of bounds, and the half is going to end. It's over.
It's over.
Boy, that was not smart.
Metcalf did not get out of bounds. Cleveland out of timeout. Metcalf does not get out of bounds.
Where's it? Oh, right there. That's a bad cut on the part of Metcalf.
We welcome you to our NFL Live halftime report. We'll get you up to date on scores of all of the early games being played in the NFL today. Before we get started, a comment from Joe Gibbs and Mike Ditka about the play which ended the first half. Who's at fault, Joe?
Well, I tell you what, I'm nervous with 15 seconds to go throwing the ball anywhere, but then it was thrown to the right place on the sideline. Metcalf's got to get out of bounds.
Yeah, he's a veteran player who needs to have the on-the-field sense to get out of bounds, right, Mike?
Well, I think the announcer at the game said it, Todd said it very well. If he knows he can get it in the end zone, fine. If you can't, you got to get out of bounds, stop the clock, and take the field goal.
Cost the Browns a scoring opportunity and leaves the score as it was to that point. Meanwhile, in the Meadowlands and Giant Stadium, the New York Giants have a 13-6 third-quarter lead over the Indianapolis Colts, a game in which the Colts had trouble stopping the Giants' running game early on. Dan Reeves and the Giants looking for a 5th straight win, trying to clinch a playoff berth today. Rodney Hampton ran wild in the first half. First quarter here, he goes for 16 yards down to the Indy 1, scored on the next play to make it 7-0 Giants. Hampton over 100 yards rushing in the first half. Second quarter, 7-0. Sims mixing it up, goes to the air for the 17-yard strike in the corner of the end zone over good coverage to Chris Callaway. That made it 13-0. They botched the PAT. But then the Colts came back. Jeff George going deep to Jesse Hester here. George hit his first 8 passes in the game, 11 of his first 13. This one good for 58 yards to Hester down to the 13. Set up Biasucci's first field goal from 22 yards. He later kicked a second one to narrow the margin to 13-6. Mike, it appeared at first that the Giants were simply going to run him out of the stadium.
Well, Dan's not going to change. His game is to run the football. He's got good running backs. He's got a great offensive line. Then he'll use Sims where he has to throw the football. But his job is to establish the run, and if it's working that well, he'll just keep it up all day.
Giants with that big offensive line want to wear the opposition down, Joe?
Yeah, it doesn't look like a Denver team, Dan Reeves team. It looks like the old team. Running football, precise pass by Sims. And let me say this, Pat and I were on the streets in New York last night. It was cold and windy. That all reminds me of New York. Bad place to play.
And Indianapolis, of course, a dome team coming into those forbidding conditions in the Meadowlands today. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got an early 10-0 lead against the Chicago Bears. Bears have since come back to tie the game in the third quarter at 10-10. Jim Harbaugh bruised his right hand on the last play of the first half, has for the moment been replaced by P.T. Willis for the Bears. It is questionable at this moment whether Harbaugh will be able to return to the game. Cleveland Browns and Houston Oilers, as you know, 16-10 favor of Houston at halftime. Warren Moon missed his first 5 passes, but since then has come back as the Oiler offense and the pass rush have heated up. Buffalo Bills and Philadelphia Eagles played a scoreless first half in the Vet. For the Bills, Jim Kelly threw 2 interceptions, lost a fumble. Steve Christie missed 2 field goals. Thurman Thomas missed much of the first half with a bruised forearm. Now Thomas is back in the game, but Mike, the Bills continue to sputter on offense.
Well, they really haven't done anything. And I think when you got a team that's arguing and bickering and saying there is no problem, there is a problem. Because what's happened to me is those people aren't respecting the way other people are playing on that football team. You don't have to love your teammates, but you better respect the job they're doing on the field. You better respect the effort they're putting out, and I don't see that happening up there right now.
Joe, how dangerous are the Bubby Brister-led Eagles if they continue to hang in here?
Well, I think obviously they've been able to shut them out so far. And anytime you got, I kind of chip in there with Mike, anytime you got a quarterback that says maybe everybody's not playing 100%, that is bickering.
Even if he's a QB with the credentials and the pedigree of Jim Kelly.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing you can say about a teammate, too.
All right, let's turn our attention to the Saints and the Rams in the Superdome. Los Angeles has just come back to take a 17-13 lead in that game. It's a seesaw game, but the Saints, leading 13-10 at the half, fumbled the third quarter kickoff, and the Rams, Darrell Boykin ran it in from 6 yards out to give the Rams the 17-13 lead. In the game for the #1 draft pick being played in Foxborough, New England got a second quarter TD pass from Drew Bledsoe to go on top. 1993's top pick, Bledsoe, leading the Pats in the battle to see who gets the top pick this year. Here's the kind of play you might expect from 2 1-11 teams. Cincy's Marcelo Simmons blows the interception chance. Then tight end Ben Coates of the Parcells Pats has it, loses it. Second quarter, Bledsoe to Michael Timpson. More of the same. What looks like a certain touchdown slips through Timpson's hands at the goal line. But the Patriots would finally get it right. A late drive at the end of the second quarter. Bledsoe hits tight end Ben Coates for an 8-yard TD, Coates' 9th touchdown of the year. And the Patriots lead 7-0. One note from our Will McDonough. Steve DeBerg will start tomorrow night's game for Miami against Pittsburgh. Scott Mitchell not yet sufficiently healed from his separated shoulder, although Mitchell will back up DeBerg. You'll remember that our Mike Ditka told us a week ago in his infinite wisdom that DeBerg would be the starter in that game. Up next, we'll hear from the Chiefs' Marcus Allen. That's after these messages from your local station.
Welcome back to the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. As we get set to start the second half, Houston out in front of Cleveland by a score of 16. We're waving to George Bush. We're going to see if we can get him to come down.
President.
And make a comment.
Well, come on.
Would you come on down?
Come on down. Talk about the game a little bit.
Yes. All right. While we're getting everything organized here, we will take a look at the official statistics in the first half. These are the Coors Light halftime stats.
Now come and take my chair.
Hi, George. Charlie Jones. Nice to see you.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Well, we have President Bush. It's nice to... Do you have a favorite?
In this ball game?
In this ball game, yes.
Well, I had to tell Art Modell I got one. It's Houston.
And what was Art's reaction?
He understands.
He does.
He's an old friend, though.
He is, though.
Good to see you.
It's nice to see you again. Do you come often to the games here?
Yeah, we got some season seats and come down here. This is my third, but I've been traveling a lot, but our third home game.
Where have you been to?
Well, all over. Around the world trip. Hong Kong, Taiwan, China, England, Sweden, you name it.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes, I am. I'm out of politics. In fact, this is the only interview I've done. I'm out of the media bit, but this isn't politics.
No, this doesn't get... We kind of grabbed you in the hallway and pulled you.
Yeah.
We appreciate you for stopping by.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Good luck.
Thanks
so
much.
Enjoy your broadcast.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you. Now we'll get back to the football game. Cleveland with a first down at their own 20-yard line after the kickoff that you saw went into the end zone. That was kind of nice.
For you?
Yeah, for you.
I thought I was out of a job.
I think you almost were. It's dropped. Michael Jackson right in his hands, and he drops it. Oh, he's got... That just shake your head. You can't throw it any better than that.
Well, it's a little bit behind him, but right there, okay, Cruz, come back, make the catch right through his arms. That's awful. Just awful. Steve Jackson is lucky there. Got burned deep again. Look at the hit he takes from Sean Jones right at the end of the play. Just gets it off. Pow. Frustration on the part of Testaverde. Thought he had a big play.
George Bush is quite a frequenter of the Astrodome during the baseball season as he comes to the Astro ball game. Here's a long pass down the near side. What did Cleveland do at halftime? Well, they saw something in the first half because they open up the second half throwing long.
Well, the deal here is that clearly Houston is going almost exclusively with man-for-man coverage, and they're trying to get some big plays. And, of course, without Jackson dropping the ball, they would have had it. Chris Dishman, a great coverage here on Carrier.
Now look at this. I do an interview with President Bush, and every time, there's always one. There always one in every crowd, and he has to come in.
Yeah, but come on, man. I thought, where's my job? That's it. I'm history. But in fairness, that is somebody I'd give up the mic to.
Third down and 10. He's throwing this one away. Out of time, the pressure was there. So it is 3 and out for the Houston Oilers, and they will have excellent field position.
Well, I'm going to tell my friends now.
Marcus Robertson is out for the year. We were just handed this information. He has a ruptured tendon.
A ruptured patella tendon, that's in the knee. Oh, that's just awful.
Ooh.
What a great year he was having, too. Second in the NFL interceptions, leading the Oilers.
Brian Hansen, he nails this one. Drury tries to come up with it. It bounces off him, and it goes out of bounds. We kind of rushed through the statistics. Let's take a deeper look at the Coors Light halftime stats.
Well, nothing really revealing there. As even as the game is, you can see yards, first downs, turnovers, possession, pretty even. But then again, you know, they can take a back seat to an ex-president.
Down here.
Taking back 15 yards.
Right, 15 yards, or half the distance.
A couple of flags
Personal
back
foul.
at the 42.
Number 48 on the receiving team after the play was over.
That's on John
Half the
Henry
distance
Mills.
to the goal line, first down.
That punt by Brian Hansen, good for 53 yards.
And now you also tack on 14 yards, so that's a 67-yard punt in effect, change of possession. The Oilers thinking that they had at least decent field position at the 28. Now they're going to be at about right at about the 14-yard line. John Henry Mills, the one tight end on the roster, maybe trying a little bit too hard to impress his coaches.
So Houston on offense at their own 13-yard line for the first time in the second half. And the Oilers lead by 6, 16-10. Cleveland with a golden opportunity at the end of the first half. Here's a 360 move by Gary Brown, and he is going to pick up maybe a yard. That's going to be it. But when Eric Metcalf did not get out of bounds inside of the 5-yard line, the clock continued to move, and it went all the way to halftime.
A couple of people,
costly mistake.
I was going to say, a couple of people went brain dead there at the end of the first half. Not just the fact that, you know, we look at Eric Metcalf, it's very hard to tell somebody like that, look, don't go for the end zone in this case. That's what you're geared to do. That's what you want to do. But look, we only have 15 seconds, so unless you've got the touchdown, don't do it. In that case, he thought he could get it, and it didn't happen.
Second down and 9. Boom throws, pass is incomplete. Haywood Jeffries, the intended receiver, Najee Mustafa, had very tight coverage on him. I thought he had a piece of his jersey.
Two things happen on this play, of course. Watch number 31. Watch him slide in. Take a look at his knee right there, the right knee. Catches in the AstroTurf number 31, Marcus Robertson. The reason we're showing that, besides the fact that we showed Metcalf's mistake by staying in bounds, is that is where Robertson ruptured his patella tendon, and now we find out that he is out for the season. That's a big loss for the Oilers.
Third down and long. Boone has pressure, and he is sacked, and we've got a flag down. Flag at the 11-yard line, dropped by a linesman on the near side. Anthony Pleasant gets credit for the sack.
I think they were trying to set up a screen.
No foul. No foul on the play. No foul.
So with the sack, it'll be 3 and out, and that means that Houston will be kicking, and Cleveland will have excellent field position. And the one man they want to keep the ball away from is number 21, Eric Metcalf, who is the punt returner for the Cleveland Browns. And you saw at the end of the first half just how effective he can be if you get him a little bit of room.
But of course, in this case, that's an awful lot of field that Montgomery has to work with, and he's going to have a hard time keeping it away from him. kicking from his own end zone.
He goes for the sideline, and it goes out of bounds. And they will mark it out at the 49-yard line of Cleveland. The score is Houston 16 and Cleveland 10. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. Bo Orlando, now the free safety for the Houston Oilers. Marcus Robertson, the tendon injury, out for the rest of the year.
Well, don't forget, Bo Orlando was the starter. I mean, it's not as if they have a huge drop-off, but then again, Marcus Robertson was playing at a Pro Bowl level.
And remember what Buddy Ryan said about Marcus Robertson, the best safety I've ever been around.
Boy, that's saying a lot.
And here is Metcalf around the corner. He's got it. He's to the 40, the 35, down the sideline and out of bounds. He is so dangerous. He goes out at the 22-yard line. And it's a first down.
Well, what happens here is that one of the things that happens, take a look, watch Al Smith and Wilber Marshall cut to the inside. Now there's nobody left. When you have your interior people that are going to blitz between the tackles, you're going to pay the price on the outside. And once again, Eric Metcalf with a big play.
And a gain of 29 yards for Metcalf and a first down at the Houston 22-yard line. 61 yards rushing for Metcalf. And here he is again. Straight shot up the middle. This time he's just going to get a couple. Mark it to the 20-yard line. It'll be second down and 8 as Bubba McDowell and Al Smith stop him at the 20. 12.5 minutes time remaining. We're in the opening moments of the second half here in the Astrodome. It is Houston 16 and Cleveland 10. And again, Cleveland got out in front early in the ball game. They scored on a 49-yard touchdown pass to Metcalf on their first play from scrimmage. They went up 10-0, and then the Oilers came back with 16 unanswered points. Little play action fake. Testaverde is being chased, and as he...
There it is.
There it is.
Finally
as he
did it
starts
right.
to be pulled down, he throws it away, and there's the referee right behind him nodding okay, because that's the new rule. He is outside of the tackles. Let's go to New York for an update.
And check out the brewing shocker in Philadelphia, Charlie. Bubby Brister fires to Calvin Williams in the third quarter from 19 yards out. It is 7-0 Philadelphia. Steve Christie has missed another Buffalo field goal. The offense continues to sputter. The Bills are in trouble. 7-0 Eagles in the fourth. Back to Charlie and Todd.
All right, thank you, Jim. Here it is Houston 16, Cleveland 10. And Cleveland with a third down and long, trying to get back into this ball game. Testaverde stands in, fires, pass is incomplete, and the flag is down. Mark Carrier, the intended receiver, and he went down, and flags came flying from every direction.
Well, the thing that's a shame on this play, Charlie, is that Steve Jackson is going to get called for it. But even if Carrier would have come up with a catch, he would have been 3 yards short. Once again, you know, the presence on the field. We mentioned with regards to Metcalf, too often people assume that quarterbacks or middle linebackers, the leaders, are the only ones.
Defensive pass interference, number 24. First
Steve
down.
Jackson, first down.
They think that they're the only ones that should know what's happening on the field. But take a look here underneath. You're going to see he shoves Carrier to the right of your screen. But look at how close he is. Even if he makes the catch right there, they need to get to the 13-yard line for the first down. So let him make the catch, make the tackle, force him to kick the field goal. In this case, Jackson, not really good field presence.
The ball at the 16-yard line, and it is first down. And here is Metcalf, and he's going to dance for a couple of yards. Metcalf now has been involved in 144 yards, and that is returning and rushing and receiving for the Cleveland Browns. So he certainly has made his presence felt, and he has to if the Browns are going to do anything. This will be unsportsmanlike against the Cleveland Browns.
If you could read the lips of Bill Belichick, that wasn't on nuts, and we know that. But he has to be frustrated about a mental error here. Why do you get in a scrap?
Unsportsmanlike conduct after the play, number 21 offense.
That's on
15 yards and the down count. The down count.
A dead ball foul, that is after the play downs, and so the previous down counts, they don't get it over.
Well, earlier, we remember that there was a little bit of a beef that he had with Chris Dishman trying to get him going here. Now he's on the ground. Now something is said to him. He rolls over on top of Al Smith. Chris Dishman pulls him off. Now what happens here? Let's see if he takes a swipe. Here comes Metcalf being held. Now right at the end of that, he must have come back and taken a swing or something, because I mean, you can't be giving 15 yards for somebody who swears on the field. Otherwise, flags, it would be a veritable cascade of amber if they're going to throw the flag for talking trash. I know they're trying to do that in the NBA, trying to clean things up. But in the NFL, come on. People are colliding
in the NBA,
like
you're
that.
a little closer to everybody that's involved.
Well, and there's a little different level of collision in the NFL than there is in the NBA. And that's his point right there. He said, well, come on. He said, not only
officials have
that.
spotted the ball at the 28-yard line. Now they are holding a conference. Belichick is talking with Bill Reynolds, who is the line judge on his side.
I always find it funny because, you see the coaches who scream at that side judge and do whatever they can. It's not as if that guy's going to run back into the huddle and go, okay, listen, ref, let's change it. If he's got a beef to anybody, he's got a beef to the referee.
Now he is being called into the conference, as is the other official, the back judge, Jim Kearney.
Well, the damage has been done. This isn't going to look very good if they go back.
Well, better to get it right, though. Here's the call.
We will repeat the down, first down. Continuing action foul while the clock was running. Continuing action foul while the clock was running. It's first down.
Well, score one for Bill Belichick in that argument, saying if he can't get the 15 yards, boy, oh boy, now he wants everybody back. Get out of my face. He's wired now. He won half the battle in getting the down back.
So the line of scrimmage, the 28-yard line of Houston, and it's first down and 22. Cleveland, 50 yards and penalties. Houston, 57 yards. Play action fake. Going for it all. Has a man in the end zone. Hits it. Touchdown. Mark Carrier. And the game is tied with the extra point to come. 28 yards on the touchdown pass to Carrier.
Great protection and good play action fake. Look at the time that Testaverde has to throw completely across the field to Carrier. Watch right at the end. Bubba McDowell almost makes the play. Is this a game of inches or what? Right there, look at the hand. Oh, just misses the ball. Good concentration on the part of Carrier.
Number 3, Stover in for the
Matt Stover to break the tie. And it is good. And for the second time in the ball game, the Cleveland Browns lead the Houston Oilers. The score now is 17-16 Cleveland. Back for the kickoff. Mark Carrier with the touchdown reception. That, by the way, the first completion for Testaverde in the second half. And Matt Stover will be kicking off with Drury and Mills set for the return. And here we go. And it's an onside kick.
Great call.
Onside kick. It is recovered by Cleveland, at least according to the Cleveland players.
I say great call if they come up with the ball. It is.
And it is a great call because the Cleveland Browns come up with the ball. And one of the Houston Oilers says, no, they're pointing that one. I love it. Everybody helps the official.
There's a man right there. Every now and then he'll take chances. Charlie, you and I have done games in the past where he's run fake field goals crossways. This is called the suicide onside, right in the middle. It's not to the side. The kicker does it, and they come up with the ball. Guy closest to him is able to do that. Bob McElwee says, yes, indeed.
And it is Frank Stams who comes up with the football. So Cleveland not satisfied with a 1-point lead. Great time to gamble. Coming with 11:19 to go in the third, when nobody expects it.
That's exactly right. And what a great timing on the part of Coach Bill Belichick to take a shot. He said it coming in, we're 6-6. This is for all the marbles. We've got to let it all hang out. And that's exactly what they did.
And when we asked you about what happens if you pull off the upset, he said the whole world changes, because we're right back in it. And they, of course, are right back in this ball game. They have a first down at their own 47-yard line. And here is Metcalf. He slices through. Spins, has about 5, and then he's slammed down by Bubba McDowell. So it'll be second down. And 5 yards to go, and Glenn Montgomery is the injured player for the Houston Oilers. Now, they've already lost Marcus Robertson for the rest of the year. And Montgomery, an integral part of that front four of William Fuller, Ray Childress, Sean Jones, and Glenn Montgomery. He has been bothered by a bit of a knee injury over the last couple of weeks. Let's see what happened. He's number 94.
Over the left guard, see how his legs sometimes get tangled up? He's in pursuit trying to make the tackle. He slides off right there. Turp catches his left leg a little bit. Looks like he might have pulled his hamstring.
The Houston Oilers would like to recognize a special group of fourth graders from elementary school.
Clock is stopped with 10:59. That is the time remaining. We're in the third quarter. Don't forget to stay with us, because right after this ball game, the second half of the doubleheader. But first, we'll step aside. We'll be back in a moment.
We are at 6:03.
Let me finish my thought on the second half of the doubleheader. Mile High Stadium, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos down. And you mentioned, how long has it been since Kansas City defeated Denver in Denver?
1982 was the last time that happened. Players like Bill Kinney, Carlos Carson, Mike Williams, Art Still. It was a while ago.
Second down and 5. Cleveland out in front of Houston, 17-16. There is Kevin Mack. Now, Kevin Mack activated for this game. First time that he has been activated for the Cleveland Browns. The story, of course, you know, he retired, decided to come back. Said, you'll be on the practice squad. He said, that's okay. And remember the game here. He, in fact, carried on his back the Cleveland Browns to the win several years ago. You talked about it in the pregame show.
It is a great story. Of course, he had some problems with the law the last couple of years. Art Modell took care of him where that was concerned. He retired during training camp because he said to himself, you know, I just can't do it anymore. Changed his mind, came back. As a result of coming back, of course, it cost him a chunk of salary. You're absolutely right. The entire year he has been on the practice squad. And let me tell you from experience, that's kind of like, that's lower than whale, you know what. I mean, that's where you go out and you have to practice and do everybody else's plays. And for somebody, as you mentioned, who's a two-time Pro Bowler, that was a tough pill to swallow, but he did it. It was interesting. I noticed that when they handed the ball to him and he ran, the entire sidelines was jumping up and down and throwing their arms excited for Kevin Mack.
And he did pick up the first down to the 41-yard line. Mark Carrier, who had the touchdown reception, is the injured player. And this is the only look that we have. Here he is in motion at the top of the screen. Then he just cuts down underneath, laying a block. Oh, and you can see.
Well, he went for the cut block on Eddie Robinson. I think he got his legs tangled up a little bit. He's all right, though.
The line of scrimmage, the 41-yard line of Houston. And Cleveland has a first down. They lead by 1. With a lot of time remaining. 10:20 and counting. We're in the third quarter. And here is Kevin Mack again.
All right, Kevin!
And Kevin has a couple, and you know, there's a lot of animosity between these two teams. Seems like after every play, there's some pushing and shoving going on. As you saw, as a check of the scores, we'll go back. The play in 1989 that you talked about in NFL Live.
Well, of course, here was a situation where they drove the length of the field with 44 seconds left. Kevin Mack burrows in for the touchdown. That put them in the playoffs and knocked Houston out. And Kevin Mack, you know, it's not even an argument. Not arguably one of the most popular players. He is. You can see there, after the last couple of runs, he hasn't lost too much. Looks pretty good to me.
And not only did he, not only did he score the touchdown on that drive, he was the drive.
Yeah.
Second down and 7. Here he is again. Starts right. Gets around the corner. He's going to come up shy of the first down by a couple of yards. Bo Orlando finally takes him out. The report on Glenn Montgomery of Houston is leg cramps, and he will return. And speaking of returning, Eric Metcalf and Tommy Vardell return to the
But notice all
lineup.
All the congratulations, the pats on the rear end, the handshakes that Kevin Mack gets for his first action of the '93 season.
Third down. 3rd and 5. I thought he got a couple more than that. Kitchen in motion. Tipped again. Intercepted. Bo Orlando replacing Marcus Robertson. The ball tipped up a couple of times, and he comes down with it. Big play for the Oilers.
Well, Bo Orlando's Italian Army hasn't had a lot to cheer about because he's spending an awful lot of time on the bench. Actually, this play is made right there by its Dishman, I believe, who strips the ball away from Michael Jackson, and that enables the ball to step. Watch number 28. Little contact there early. That could have been called. There, Orlando bumps it. Now watch, there it comes. Oh, it hits him right in the crotch, and he's able to hang on. What a catch by number 26, Orlando. He must have the Velcro pants. How did that ball stay in there?
Blaine Bishop also had a hand on the ball as it was wheeling around the secondary of the Oilers. So Houston a first down at their own 32-yard line. Warren Moon goes deep, double coverage, and this one is intercepted.
Gave it right back. Amazing.
Jeffries, the intended receiver, Eric Turner with the interception, and now we've got a fight at the 10-yard line. Jeffries and Moore are going after it. Well, this is everybody's starting to get into it.
Now, this is something that was started in the press during the papers. Eric Turner and Haywood Jeffries. There's absolutely no love lost whatsoever between these two. Jeffries claims that he's a cheap shot artist, and Eric Turner, in turn, thinks that Jeffries is somebody that runs his mouth a little bit too much. So I knew that when they had that collision there, that was no love lost at all between those two. But what an absolutely horrendous throw by Warren Moon. Eric Turner just sitting there in center field, just waiting for that ball to be thrown. Actually, that's a pretty good catch.
Pretty good catch.
He gets down right there. And there Haywood has him down there on his knees. Now this is where it starts. Start pushing and talking. There it is. Going after one another's faces. I'm surprised there weren't any flags thrown, but maybe just as well as orders restored. Haven't seen too much of the Houston offense this quarter, have we?
No. It's still in the locker room. Hadn't come out for the second half. But we certainly have seen Cleveland in the second half. They lead in the ball game 17-16, and they have the football at their own 16-yard line with the first down. And now the Cleveland Browns are being called to the near sideline by their coaching staff. The Oilers stay in the middle of the playing field. Clock is stopped with 8:20. And I'm sure that Bill Belichick is saying, in reality, don't lose your cool. We have an opportunity to win the ball game. We've got to have the victory. Go back to playing football.
I wish my dad was with me, because as a speech pathologist, my father is great at reading lips. I think that was part of it, but I think the other part of it is, look, you've taken their best shot. They've tried to intimidate you. They've tried to knock you off their game. We're up by a point, and we've got the ball now. So not only let's keep our composure, let's stick it to them.
Somewhere in what we both said is what Bill Belichick said. Probably not quite as eloquent as we did, but I imagine that he got the point across.
One thing I'm sure he didn't say is when they huddled up, he says, hey, did you see George Bush was up in the booth with Charlie?
That's right. And Todd gave him the microphone.
That's right.
Can you believe that?
That's the big surprise.
Now the crowd really in the game. Knocked away. Al Smith with the play, catching the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
And Lee Williams, the man who replaced Glenn Montgomery, was right in Vinny Testaverde's face. Very fortunate to get this ball back. Look at the pass rush. Deep drop by Testaverde. Watch from the right of your screen. Here comes number 79 and number 97 and Sean Jones. Al Smith almost coming up with the interception.
2nd down and 10.
Lee Williams, not a bad replacement. Former Pro Bowler for the San Diego Chargers. Led the AFC in sacks in 1988.
There comes the pressure. The screen right side to Horde. Horde up the sideline and then out of bounds. And he picks up the 1st down. And the Oilers were sending everybody after Testaverde.
Last week against the Atlanta Falcons, the Falcons were very effective against the Oilers in throwing the screen pass. You're absolutely right. Everybody coming. Childress reads it, but he's just not quite quick enough to catch up to Horde. Marshall comes over and makes the hit, but not before Horde gets the 1st down with a little high stepping.
The ball at the Cleveland 28-yard line. 1st down, Brown. And here is Metcalf as he slices through, keeps going. Not a lot of room there, and he gets all the way to the 30-yard line. So he'll pick up, rather to the 35-yard line, so he picks up 7. It'll be 2nd down and 3 as Bubba McDowell makes the tackle.
I almost did it myself. Eric Metcalf here is that as opposed to the first couple of years in the league, I noticed that he's running through tackles. You know, he's knocking some people down, realizing that you can't be the scat back all the time and fake everybody out. Sometimes you have to stick your nose in there, and he's done a pretty good job of that today.
2nd down and 3. Carrier back in the ball game. Here comes the blitz and the handoff to Metcalf, and he is shut down. Lamar Lathan makes the tackle, and it'll be 3rd down and short.
Remember earlier in the game, Lamar Lathan came in and had a big sack. He is somebody that you can't run around. Watch coming to the left of your screen. Lamar Lathan, number 57. He is 6'3" and 250 pounds, but he runs a 4.48 40. And so normally Metcalf's thinking to himself, I can outrun those backers, but in this case, Lathan is in his way, and he makes the tackle for a loss.
Here is Metcalf around the corner. This will be close. He is hit before he picks up the 1st down by Bubba McDowell. He bends him back, and he may not pick up the 1st down.
I tell you what, Charlie, he got a very, very generous spot.
Oh, he did.
That was a very generous spot. I don't think he got quite that far. We get a chance to see it again. Let's see where his feet are stopped in terms of the yards.
Oh, he does. You are right. It was a generous spot.
Very generous.
And a 1st down.
Okay, now the 38-yard line. Take a look at where his feet get stopped. Right there, he makes the spin. Look at where his feet are. He's straddling the 37-yard line. Boy, oh boy, very generous on the part of the side judge. Big break for the Cleveland Browns.
So Cleveland at their own 38-yard line, 1st down. Metcalf now has rushed for 81 yards in the ballgame. We still have a lot of time. 5:40 and counting. That is the time remaining, 3rd quarter. So just sit back and relax. We've got a long ball game this afternoon, but it is a good one. Cleveland 17, Houston 16. And here is Leroy Horde. And he's got about 3, maybe 4. Sean Jones makes the tackle. check of the other games in the National Football League. Nice to see Sean Jones yesterday. He is my stockbroker, always gives me some advice on when to get in and get out of the market. He's a very astute financial manager.
Well, not only that, he has become the leader of this defense.
One of the captains.
Named him captain.
And he told you the reason he's having such a great year?
Because he's married.
Yes.
Yeah, he's married. Able to focus on things in the field.
Has a beautiful wife and is all settled down and is looking towards the future. 42-yard line.
I guarantee you when he sees the tape of this game, he's going to be mad at me.
Little play action fake. Comeback pattern far side. Pass is high but caught and pulled down. It'll be a first down. Good reception by Keenan McCardle. Steve Jackson nailed him after a gain of 14.
Just as we mentioned, Sean Jones, take a look at what happens to him in the interior. 11 sacks coming into this game. The double team, Hoover and Jones. They have number 96. They're keeping him out. Sean Jones has been on a couple of plays today, but he hasn't as yet sacked the quarterback. Keenan McCardle turning Steve Jackson around, goes up and makes a nice catch.
Why is Sean going to be upset with you?
Because when we talked to the thing about marriage, he said, don't do that. He said, don't do that.
Oh,
Said, don't say that that's the reason.
Well, say that I did. Blame it on me.
All right.
There's not a remaining back in this set. And the throw is to Metcalf, and he goes out of bounds, has the first down. Goes out at the 34-yard line, needed to get inside the 35. Eddie Robinson was chasing him, and it's a first down.
First time they were in that set, and all of a sudden Houston is the one who's a little bit confused. No back, man-for-man coverage. Al Smith bumps, you can see he bumps Eric Metcalf there, but it's not enough to stop him from coming across the field and getting the first down.
Now remember, this drive all started back at the 16-yard line of Cleveland with the interception. Cleveland with a drive. They turned it over. Houston gave it right back on the long pass. And now Cleveland back at the 34-yard line of the Oilers. And the straight shot right up the middle is Kevin Mack. He goes to the 30-yard line. It's going to be second down and 6 as Bubba McDowell makes the stop.
Well, for somebody who's been spending all his time on the practice field, they're sure giving Kevin Mack an opportunity to do something. What a difference it makes in the second half in terms of yardage, huh?
Look at that, Houston -7, their total offense in the second half.
Every time they play the Houston Oilers, defensive coordinators say the same thing. We got to generate something offensively to keep Warren Moon off the field. Warren Moon has been in the third quarter, has been on the field for 4 plays.
Kevin Mack, flag is down on the near side. Bill Reynolds, the line judge, dropping the flag. And he signals offsides against the Houston Oilers.
On the sidelines, taking a breather, his replacement Keith McCants comes in and immediately jumps off sides.
Offside, number 78, defense, 5 yards, second down.
Now they're working on the left knee of receiver Michael Jackson of the Cleveland Browns. He and Eric Metcalf are their 2 deep threats.
Interestingly, on the other side of the field, Charlie, Sean Jones took a rest and came back on the field. There's McCants. Okay, that was the one play. Now get off.
Second down and 2 at the 25-yard line. And the Oilers were waiting for Eric Metcalf, led by Eddie Robinson. A loss of 3. It'll be third down and 5.
Eddie Robinson comes right over the top of the fullback. Watch the left of your screen. Comes right over the top of Tommy Vardell and makes the stick on Eric Metcalf for the loss. Now third and about 5.
On the draw, Metcalf just back, maybe to the line of scrimmage. That's going to be it, and the field goal team will come out.
And what a play by Ray Childress, Charlie. Ray Childress was on the ground when he makes that tackle. Number 79 had been blocked. He was on the ground and is able to reach out and get the ankle of Terry Metcalf. Watch number 79 in the middle of your screen. He's going to be on the ground, laying on the ground. There's 79 right there, laying on the ground. Look at him. He reaches out and gets a hold of the leg of Metcalf. What a great play by Ray Childress.
A 46-yard field goal attempt by Matt Stover. It drifts to the right side. It is no good. So Stover misses from 46 yards away, and the score remains Cleveland 17, Houston 16. The Oilers have the ball when we come back.
Brian Hansen makes a nice catch. Take a look where the snap is. It's a little bit low, but Hansen makes a pretty good recovery to get the ball up, but it throws off the timing of the kicker just a little bit. And so as a result, he pushes it to the right. The snapper in this case is Brian Kinchin, and Brian Kinchin is the starting tight end. And I can tell you from personal experience, Charlie, because I started at tight end and snap for punts. That's hard to do when you've been running routes the whole game, to come in and do that.
Warren Moon comes back to the right side, and he's going to pick up the first down. That is only the fifth, count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth offensive play for Houston in the second half. Cleveland has 23. Houston has had the ball a minute and 21 seconds prior to that snap. Cleveland has had the ball almost 13 minutes, 12 minutes and 54 seconds.
Nice catch there by Gary Wellman, and once again, Webster Slaughter is not in the game. I was told at halftime that it wasn't any big deal that he wasn't injured, but right now, it might have got cold, you know, as you mentioned, standing on the sidelines for all that time.
And a first down for Houston. And Moon goes deep, has a man, and is dropped. And it's Gary Wellman who drops the ball. And with that play, the third quarter comes to a close. Cleveland 17, Houston 16. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
One of the reasons Gary Wellman drops this ball is because, like the outfielder who tries to find the ball after he runs, watch right now he looks instead of running to the spot. Now see, as he's running side saddle instead of running straight ahead, that puts your body at somewhat of an awkward angle, and that's one of the reasons why I think he dropped the ball.
Second down and 10 for Houston. The ball at their own 40-yard line. Gary Brown gets the call. One thing you might want to factor into it, I know that baseball players indoors, outfielders who like to run to the spot and then go and pick up the ball, particularly here when you look at the roof of the Astrodome, it's hard to pick up. They will follow the ball rather than, as they go to the spot, because they look up, because it's hard to pick up. Now, obviously harder to pick up a baseball than a football. Perhaps you factor that into it. But the bottom line is Warren Moon, a great pass, and he dropped it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Gary Wellman, appreciate you providing an excuse, but he still should have come up with it.
You're right. Third down and 6. Moon has pressure. He fires. Pass is complete, short of the first down. Gibbons is a couple of yards shy of the first down. So the Oilers, it's going to be 3 and out. And that will mean that they've only had 7 offensive plays in the second half.
And that's a big play by Eric Turner. Watch number 29 is going to fly into your screen and make the collision on Gibbons. Watch as he strips him. Watch the collision right here. Pow! Knocks him off balance. Sets him down there. If he doesn't knock him off balance, all Gibbons has to do is run an extra yard for the first down, but he's not able to do it.
So it's 4th down and a couple, and Greg Montgomery is kicking to the ever-dangerous Eric Metcalf. Good kick. Oh, that's a great kick. Going for the corner. Does he get it? No. He came ever so close to getting the coffin corner, but it'll be a touchback, and they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. 52 yards on the kick, and tonight NBC has a blockbuster twin bill. First at 7, 6 Central, Blast into the Future with George Jetson and his family on the network premiere of The Jetsons. That's one of my favorites. You like that one, don't you?
Hey, I fell in love with Judy when I was a kid.
Oh, but look, this is it. E.T., the most beloved movie of all time from Steven Spielberg. Oh, I tell you, that is just absolutely fabulous. It's 2 great movies, The Jetsons and E.T., starting at 7, 6 Central. That is tonight here on NBC.
Charlie Jones, phone home, phone home.
Collect.
Yeah, that's right.
So Cleveland will take over at their own 20-yard line.
I wonder if a little fatigue isn't setting in on the part of the Houston Oilers defense. As you
Well, but
mentioned.
what about on the Cleveland Brown offense?
Nah, it doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way?
No. I don't know why, but it doesn't.
Cleveland a first down at their own 20-yard line. The Browns with a 17-16 lead. Testaverde goes deep, and they're going to just rule an incidental contact. They were both trying to come back for it, Rico Smith and Chris Dishman.
Very interesting.
A flag back at the 19, meanwhile.
A couple of years ago, Chris Dishman had an unbelievable all-pro year where he had a turnover in 7 straight games. This year, he might be playing his
Personal
best
foul,
football.
number 62 offense. Personal foul, number 95 defense. Penalties offset. Replay the down.
Offsetting personal fouls. There is little love lost between the Houston Oilers and the Cleveland Browns. This is almost like a mugging at various times. What's the left of the screen?
Oh, went for the eye poke. William Fuller. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Took the forefinger and went for the eye poke. Whoop, 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 whoop.
So we'll replay the down. It is first down at the 20-yard line. Testaverde to throw. Swings it off. It is dropped. Tommy Vardell, it was right in his hand.
Well, Tommy Vardell has been a real non-factor today, except for as a lead blocker from time to time. He only has 2 carries for 4 yards and has yet to catch a pass. I don't think this is what they envisioned 2 years ago when they drafted him in the first round out of Stanford as touchdown Tommy Vardell. But right now, his role has been as a lead blocker for Kevin Mack and Eric Metcalf.
Second down and 10. Metcalf is the running back in this offensive set. Testaverde to throw. Good protection over the middle in the coverage, and it's intercepted. Chris Dishman with the interception. Carrier, the intended receiver.
I was about to make the point on the last play that even though he does not have the interceptions that he did 2 years ago, he is playing like an all-pro. Look as he waits for the cut across the field, and this is a great catch. Look at the backhanded catch here by Dishman, reaching out just like a receiver to make the grab. 2 plays before, he runs with Rico Smith stride for stride, breaks up the play. That is an outstanding cornerback right there, Chris Dishman.
And so with just over 13 minutes to go in the fourth, Houston trailing by 1 as the ball at the Cleveland 39. And Gary Brown is the ball carrier. And they will string him all the way to the Cleveland sideline. He may get a yard out of it, if that. Randy Hilliard and Rob Burnett make the play for the Cleveland Browns. Browns have really looked good in this ball game.
Well, it makes a big difference, too, when your defense has been able to sit for so long. Not too many people on the defensive end are very tired.
That interception by Chris Dishman, that is his 5th on the year, but he has now interceptions in 4 consecutive games.
Which may help to explain why they don't throw much to his side, instead preferring to pick on Steve Jackson.
Second down and 9. Boone has pressure from the shotgun. Flag is down. Almost intercepted off of the tip by Del Spear. But we had a flag at the 30-yard line. Pass interference against the Cleveland Browns, or an illegal chuck.
Illegal use of the hand. Number 24 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
On Terry Taylor. And that's a chuck outside of 5 yards.
Haywood Jeffries, it's just not his day. This is a great throw. How much better can it get than that? That's between the 8 and the 4. I dare say that maybe he is a little bit intimidated by Eric Turner and the safeties, Eric Turner and Steve Von Moore, because that's about the 3rd ball that he's dropped today.
And with the penalty, the ball goes to the 33-yard line of Cleveland. We didn't have a shot of the foul. So spot the ball at the 33 and a first down. Just over 12 and a half minutes to go in the ball game. Cleveland leads by 1, 17-16. And Moon down the sideline, incomplete. And a flag is down. Gibbons, the intended receiver, and Terry Taylor was trying to pin him against the sideline. And they're going to call him for interference.
Now, once again, the huddle of the officials is, was the ball catchable? Terry Taylor just can't believe it. 2 plays back-to-back that he gets called for that. You see the look. Please don't. Well,
pass interference. 24 defense. First down.
Here's Taylor on Gibbons. Cuts to the outside. He knows where he's going now. Now he runs, sprints, cuts him off. Now takes a look. You can't call that. You
no,
just can't call that.
Call.
That's awful.
That is a terrible call.
You can't call that.
No.
Absolutely can't.
No.
Webster Slaughter now in street clothes. Evidently the ribs were more painful than he thought. He appreciates that call because it certainly benefits his team. But Webster, I got to tell you, was lousy.
And with the penalty, back-to-back penalties, now the 13-yard line and it's first down. And Gary Brown looked as if he was going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage, still manages to wiggle his way inside the 10-yard line. He's going to pick up 5 or 6 on the play.
Near the end of the first half, we noticed in the 2-minute warning that Webster Slaughter was not out there. As we mentioned, pulled rib cartilage. There are the numbers that he had in the first half, that he just couldn't give it a go in the second half. So now we're seeing Gary Wellman, Pat Coleman, different group of receivers.
2nd down and 5, the ball at the 8-yard line. Brown spins his way to the 5.
This is going to be an interesting call here. You know what? I'd give it to Gary Brown again, because here it is 3rd and 2. They're going to come in with their group to prevent the pass. I like giving him the ball here.
And he has rushed for 89 yards in the ball game. Three weeks ago against Cleveland, he rushed for 194. And I tell you what, I wouldn't go on a quick count either. I would make sure everybody's set.
That didn't work too well last time, did it?
A fumble on the exchange from center. And Houston has recovered the fumble.
Well, they're lucky to get that back.
And they will go now with a field goal attempt on 4th down.
Ball comes out, and fortunately for the Oilers right there, they're in a blitz. That's heads up on the part of Gary Brown to see that. Gary Brown is the one that speeds in there, makes the recovery in the midst of all those white shirts. Might be the biggest play he's made today.
From the 15-yard line, a 25-yard field goal attempt by Al Del Greco, and it's right down Broadway. Al Del Greco now 4 for 4 in the ball game. And Houston retakes the lead, 19-17. In the Astrodome, we have 10 minutes and 39 seconds left in the ball game. Houston leading Cleveland 19-17. As Al Del Greco, who has hit 4 for 4 in the field goal category, will be kicking off. Eric Metcalf and Leroy Horde are the return men. And we look for him to kick away from Metcalf. And here is Horde at the goal line, and he is to the 10, the 15, 20, nice return, 26 yards on the return. Now, we've been talking about the second half of the doubleheader. Kansas City and Denver. Kansas City leading the West with a 9-3 record. Denver tied with the Raiders for second. And that is coming up next over most of these stations. Of course, if you look at your clock, you'll say, that game has just started. Well, we have no score in that ball game. We'll keep you updated. And then immediately after this ball game, of course, most of you to see the second half of the doubleheader, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos from Mile High Stadium. So just sit back and relax. We've got a really good one going here. The Houston Oilers leading Cleveland by 2. And Houston with an 8-4 record coming into the ball game. Cleveland's record is 6-6. They need to come from behind to pull this one out to challenge for a playoff spot. And Testaverde sets and fires far side, a little off target. He's going to Mark Carrier, so it will be second down. The Giants defeat the Colts 20-6. That is now a final. Tampa Bay defeats Chicago by 3, 13-10.
Big upset.
Buffalo comes from behind to defeat Philadelphia, and so the Bills stay in the race. The Rams defeat the New Orleans Saints by a score of 23-20. This is kind of an upset Sunday. New England over Cincinnati 7-2. That was an upset. I think either ball club that won. That's an upset. No.
7-2.
And here is Metcalf. He kind of cruises out to the 33-yard line. By the way, congratulations to Charlie Ward on winning the Heisman. Not a surprise. Had a chance to meet him and talk with him before the Florida State Notre Dame game, and what a really class young man he is, in addition to being an outstanding football player and having a great season.
Yeah, I think that, the concept of nice guys finish last doesn't apply to Charlie Ward. First-class guy.
Third down and 3 for Cleveland. And now the crowd into it here in the Astrodome. Here's the blitz. And the pass is going to be about a half-yard shy of the first down. Kitchen caught it, the tight end. Orlando covered him immediately.
I think he's going to be short. You're always...
Make sure we'll check the measurement.
You're always talking about the fact that you want your receivers to get the first down to know the yardage. In this case, the Houston Oilers come with the blitz. Kitchen just turns around. Instead of running the route to the spot, he just turns around, and as a result, he's a little bit short, it appears.
And there is the measurement, and as you can see, it is short. Now, why are the Houston Oilers blitzing so much? Well, we asked Buddy Ryan that, and yesterday, here's what he had to say. It's hard to throw when you have tears in your eyes. If you sack the quarterback and put enough pressure on him, it does make it difficult, and that works both ways, because I'll tell you one thing, the Cleveland Browns have been putting a lot of pressure on Warren Moon in this ballgame.
And just like they went for the onside kick, they're going for it here. They don't want to give the ball back to the Houston offense. But I wouldn't look for the trick play here like they did last time with a halfback pass. I would look for them to go for it. This year on fourth down, coming into this game, they were 8 out of 9, best in the National Football League. Today, they didn't get it. And their one attempt on fourth down.
Play action fake. Here's the pass. It is complete to the tight end, Kitchen, and he has the first down. They have a nice fourth down package.
They really do. And that's one of the reasons why coming into this game, they're better than anybody at it on fourth down. So predictable just to jump into the middle. Makes the hand up to Vardell. Everybody assumes that where it is. Good misdirection. William Fuller has to have Kitchen in coverage, and that's a mismatch. Fuller's a great sacker, but he's not a great cover guy.
And a gain of 19 yards on the play. And suddenly, Cleveland is in Houston territory with more than 8.5 minutes left in the ballgame, and they have a first down at the Houston 48-yard line. And here is Metcalf. He slips a couple of tackles. Boy, he is elusive.
It's going to come back, though. Going to catch holding.
Maybe that's the reason he's elusive. Offensive line is holding.
Holding, number 88, offense.
That's the tight end, Brian
10
Kitchen.
yards, first down.
Well, Brian Kitchen gives and he takes away after the big 19-yard catch on 4th down. Hooks Bubba McDowell, gets a piece of his arm, and he can't make the tackle, and the official caught him. He's got to be a tired guy today, not only running the routes, but as we mentioned earlier, snapping for punts, which means he has to cover punts, and then snapping for field goals and taking the shots of those 280-pound guys in between the tackles. This has got to be one of the most penalized games that we've had this year.
Yeah. First and 20 at the Cleveland 42-yard line. Blitz coming from the outside. Pass is complete to Kitchen. He is dropped immediately by Bubba McDowell. But he was the hot receiver. That's where the linebacker was coming from. It'll be second down.
Well, even though he comes with a big hit, that's still about a 6-yard gain. Backpedaling, you're right. McDowell with the big hit. Kitchen, actually, that's a nice catch, involved on the last 3 plays.
Lamar Lathan was the linebacker coming, a gain of 5. So it'll be second down and 15, and we have 7.5 minutes left in this ballgame. Houston 19, Cleveland 17. And here's the screen to Metcalf, and he is tripped up.
Big play. Bubba McDowell, big play.
If McDowell does not make the play, Metcalf may have 20 yards.
That's exactly right. Cleveland had an effective screen earlier. Remember with Leroy Horde. Watch the right of your screen. Metcalf tries to get lost, comes out to the left. Watch McDowell cutting in. The blocker gets to him, but look at he trips him up right there, and you can see there's some blockers out in front. It would have been a big gain. Now instead, 3rd and 15.
A lot of artificial turf out in front for him to roam through. Testaverde has pressure. He throws, passes, complete, first down, 34-yard line. Carrier flag down back at the 43.
Still going to come back.
Holding against Cleveland.
That offensive left tackle is Tony Jones, who's been going against Sean Jones all day. The law firm of Jones & Jones. Sean with the arm under. Now watch him come in right at the last minute. Oh, that's close. But what he sees is a takedown. He sees that left arm pinned. That's a judgment call. And you can see Jones coming over to the judge and say, now wait a minute, here's the deal. He comes with the arm under, gets stuck with me. I didn't hook into him. And that's always the argument when you get that on the flank when they're coming in on the pass rush.
And Cleveland has now been penalized 95 yards in his 3rd and 24.
Another note about Tony Jones having an outstanding season. Has only given up 2 sacks all year and shut out both Anthony Smith and Ronaldo Turnbull, the 2 leading sackers in the NFL.
Carrier in motion. Testaverde, Metcalf, and a collision at the 39-yard line, and that is going to be shy of the first down.
What a game Metcalf is having.
Yeah.
What a game.
23 yards for Metcalf. It'll be 4th down, and as you know, the Browns go for it on 4th down.
And what an awful piece of defense on the part of the Houston Oilers. They have not been effective at all going with the zone defense. 3rd and 24 to let him get in the middle of the field like that, especially Metcalf. Here's the one guy that's been killing you all day. How can he get down the middle of the field like that and catch a 23-yard pass?
The ball spotted at the 38-yard line. And they're unhooking the change on the far sideline. They had to get everybody back so they could bring it out for the official measurement. 5 minutes and 39 seconds. That is the time remaining. I thought he came up about a half a yard short, and that's about the call. Now remember, on 4th down in this ball game, they are 1 for 2. Both have been passes. One was a Leroy Horde pass to Clarence Williams that he overthrew it. And the other was a pass from Testaverde to Kitchen.
Left of your screen, they have it in man coverage underneath the deep zone. Now, what are you doing? Why is Michael Barrow with him man for man in the middle of the field? You should have at least had him double teamed in that case. That's the man that's been killing you. That's the man that has over 200 total yards today.
Metcalf, all-purpose yardage, rushing, receiving, returning, 215 yards. Over the top and a first down for Cleveland. Tommy Vardell. The Browns making great plays, and they self-destruct in their own penalties. They come right back to pick up an unbelievable first down.
Cutting over the top, we mentioned that Vardell had not made much of a contribution today, but he certainly comes through on a big 4th and 1.
And don't forget, a moment ago it was 3rd and 24. Now a first down of the Houston 35. And Matt Stover has hit from 53 yards away on a field goal in this direction. Little play action fake. Testaverde goes deep, has a man down the sideline. It is caught, hit, and out of bounds. It's Keenan McCardle, and it is incomplete. They'll bring it back as we go to New York for an update.
All right, Charlie, a short time ago in Philadelphia, after Buffalo's 10-point comeback gave them a 10-7 lead, Matt Barr tries to tie the game for Philly on the last play. And as the gun sounds, the kick falls short of the goalpost. Buffalo holds on to win 10-7. Because of the length of your game, we're recommending our viewers get the score from tomorrow's Today Show, Charlie and Todd.
We are continuing our overnight coverage here from the Astrodome. We still have 4.5 minutes to go in the ballgame. And here is Metcalf. He ran into trouble, and then he just came down.
That's a bigger play than realized here. Okay, he's going to have about a 4-yard gain. They set it up at the 38, 39-yard line. Now, if Cleveland were to be incomplete, they're going to have to try a 56-yard field goal, as it was before. If that play would have got it standard 2 or 3 yards, then they're definitely in field goal range. Big third down here for the Browns.
3rd down and 13. The line of scrimmage, the 38-yard line. Matt Stover, 1 for 2. He is hit from 53. He missed right from 46. That was going the other way.
Big decision, too, on the part of this man. Does he want to force him farther back, or is he going to just concede field position with a 5 or 6 yard gain?
They wanted a little swing pass in the right flat to Metcalf, but he got jammed up inside and couldn't get out.
They're going to try it.
So Matt Stover, his longest this year, earlier today, 53 yards. And this one will be from about the 46. So it'll be a 56-yard attempt. Only 3 more, and when he nailed the first one, he carried the distance.
Well, this is almost 57 yards. He is really going to have to get some leg into this. And that loss on the part of Lamar Latham now is going to be a big deal if this comes up short.
Officially 56 yards, drifting right, and it is no good.
Boy, he had the distance. It was long enough.
Houston has the ball when we come back. Todd, of course, not only analyzes, handles the microphone for President George Bush, he also helps us produce the telecast. But you were right, because Todd did catch that going in, is that they did call timeout right before the 2-minute warning. And so what, of course, that means is that Houston will run one more play. They'll reset the clock at 2:02, and then they'll get the official 2-minute warning, which will stop the clock again at the end of the play.
And what that also means now for Houston is that Warren Moon could surprise everybody in the building and throw the ball, because now the clock's going to stop regardless.
The ball at the Cleveland 42-yard line. The score is Houston 19 and Cleveland 17. Here's a look at the rushing yardage, and most important, the time. Now, that clock has not been reset, as obviously you can see.
but the clock, the real clock is running, and we've been here forever.
Well, it's a long ball. Actually,
Got that right.
Houston had a long ball game last week, did they not? 3 hours and 40 some odd minutes. But it's a nice afternoon here
Both
in the
teams
Astrodome.
have all 3 timeouts left. Both teams have all 3 timeouts left.
Well, now that's contradictive of what he said.
That's right. There's no way they can have all 3 timeouts
'cause
left.
he
if they
made
call
the other-
timeout.
he
Of course, that man's not going to beef about it.
Then what he is saying is that they are going to go with a 2-minute warning. And he now has reversed what he said during the time that we were away.
That's right.
So the 2-minute warning becomes official. And both teams have 3 timeouts remaining.
Now look for Gary Brown.
And here is Gary Brown, and he is going to be stopped for no gain. And now Cleveland will call a timeout. Mike Johnson makes the tackle. Now, in reality, what happened is that we have the same result. If they stop the clock, now this would have been the 2-minute warning, so the clock would have been stopped anyway, and Cleveland would have 2 timeouts remaining. So we have 1:53. That is the official time, and we will step aside one more time. Don't go away. We'll be back to the Astrodome. Here's a reminder on the second half of the doubleheader, Kansas City at Denver. Joe Montana with a touchdown pass. The Chiefs are up 7-0 with 10 minutes to go in the first quarter of that ball game. Here we've got 1:53 left. Houston with the ball and the lead, 19-17. Cleveland with 2 more timeouts. And here is Brown around the corner. He's got the first down and out of bounds. The good news is he's got the first down at the 30-yard line. He'll pick up 13. The bad news for the Oilers, he does stop the clock with 1:46. But the first down outweighs stopping the clock. Gary Brown has now rushed for 101 yards in the ballgame.
Once again, easy to second guess, but he should have run for 100 yards about a quarter and a half ago. What a weapon they have in number 33.
First down at the 30-yard line. And here he comes again. And there's nothing there. And Cleveland will take their second timeout. They'll have 1 timeout remaining. And we'll step aside with 1:38 left. And Houston up by 2, 19-17. 1:38. That is the time remaining here in the Astrodome. Houston leading by 2. Timeouts remaining. Cleveland has 1. The Houston Oilers have 3. And meanwhile, in Mile High Stadium, Denver with a field goal, and Kansas City now leads in the first quarter, 7-3. Again, that's the second half of the doubleheader. And as soon as this game is over, we'll be going to Mile High Stadium over most of these stations.
Was that Marcus's touchdown? Who scored for Kansas City?
Oh, Joe Montana, a touchdown pass.
Oh, it still could have been Marcus.
It wasn't.
Okay, just checking.
You got it.
Everybody's making a big deal about Jerry Rice catching up to Jim Brown. You know, Marcus isn't that far behind.
That's right.
About 10 touchdowns or so behind, something like that.
Second down and 10, 30-yard line. Gary Brown, and he has a struggle getting out of the back, and he still managed. It looked as if he was going to lose about 4 yards on the play, but Mike Caldwell couldn't pull him down. Did a little circle route back out to the 31-yard line.
Now this is interesting because one of the things that you try and get your backs to do here, they're evidently they're going to save their last time out for after this play.
21 seconds and counting on the play clock.
Interesting decision.
Yeah.
I would have thought they would have to use it right away.
Third down and 11. Now 10 seconds on the play clock.
He'll use it all.
And here is Brown. And he slides through and just keeps going.
Wow.
Going to be 4th down and a couple. Del Spear and Eric Turner finally bring him down. But it looked as if Cleveland had him stopped with a gain of about a yard. He picks up 6 or 7, a total of 109 yards rushing. And now the Browns use their last timeout with 45 seconds left in the ballgame. Al Del Greco has hit 4 of 4 field goals from 27, 48, 49, and 25 yards. Houston leads it 19-17. The field goal would change the margin from 2 to 5 points, forcing the Browns to have to go for a touchdown in the remaining time and with no timeout.
Of course, the argument that they always have with coaches, as fretting as coaches are, is that they run the risk of a blocked kick here and that it could go the other way. But you got to have faith in your special teams. I never understood that, that thinking. And especially the way Del Greco's been kicking today. 4 for 4.
This will be from the 30-yard line. So it will be an attempt of 40 yards for Al Del Greco. And that is going to cost the Cleveland Browns a first down. It was 4th down and about 3.
Encroachment, 59 defense.
Mike Johnson across the neutral zone makes contact. That's automatic.
You would have expected that from a rookie, Charlie, but not Mike Johnson, their Pro Bowl middle linebacker. The thing that's foolish about it too is that what difference does it make if he draws the guy off sides? What difference does it make? That's crazy. Take a look at the bottom, number 59, right in the middle. Right there, he jumps off sides and makes collision with David Williams. Oh boy, terrible mistake, and you can see the reaction of Bill Belichick. Unbelievable.
And the Browns have been penalized 100 yards in this ballgame. And so now with 45 seconds left, all the Houston Oilers have to do is run off the clock. And that means that Warren Boone will just kneel down. And there it is. And now it's time